Hey guys, Shop Talk Podcast, episode 5. Back at it again. 2 episodes in 1 week.
Yeah.
So we did Marathon Runner on Monday night, and now episode 5 Friday night.
It's like a full-time job.
I wish it was. It'd be way better than my full-time job.
Oh. How you feeling after 1 week?
Oh, I ran yesterday, so Thursday. Felt a little tender, but I could have easily just kept on running.
Just 2 miles you did?
Just 2 miles. Yeah.
So what about 1 week out after a marathon? How are you feeling?
Not bad. It feels like I didn't even run a marathon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You're a top-notch athlete there.
Your bones are made of rubber.
Or steel.
Yeah.
I'd rather have them be made of steel than rubber.
No, so I forgot to say it last episode about Dad's episode. Thanks to everybody that enjoyed the Glenn Arlo career episode. I forgot to say that last time because a lot of people like the 90s stories.
Hell yeah.
That is for sure.
I'm big on that.
Yeah, we know you are.
And then, the Marathon Runner episode, thanks to Regan for being in here. He did an awesome job.
Yeah.
People loved Regan. They said we need more of that new guy.
Reggie.
The new guy.
Yep, that's what they said. Yep.
Well, too bad we'll never see him again.
Yeah. He passed away.
No, he just doesn't know anything about snowmobiles.
No, we could get him in here again.
Yeah.
For sure. No, 2 episodes in 1 week. Thanks to my wife, Mandy, for supporting us. Thanks to Kyle's wife, Katie.
Yep. Shout out, Katie.
Yep.
Get that done early in the episode so she catches that.
Yep. So before we get our call-in guest, our second call-in guest here, just a little bit, just how's your new job going, Kyle? You've been home from New York for about a month?
I think this is my 4th week here. Yeah. No, things are going good. We're getting settled in. Things are going real good over at JAG. Shout out, sponsor. Things are going really good. Made a lot of friends working there. Shout out, I forget all their names.
To the homies.
Yeah, shout out to the boys. Yeah, you know who you are. I'll see you in on Monday, and shout out to my future self because we'll be listening to this Monday.
Brody, just back to running.
Back to running. Need to buy some weights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So, second call-in guest, episode 5, Austin Leeck, Michigan's own, ALR.
Yeah. Okay, if you don't know who this guy is, pause the video, go like his page, ALR Racing, Austin Leeck Racing. His YouTube is probably my favorite channel.
Yeah, we'll get kind of a elk call. We'll get an ALR call going here.
Yeah.
Brody, you haven't heard this on Facebook of what his sled sounds like. So it's a Polaris triple. Okay.
Okay.
So give this a listen here.
Sounds like a tornado siren.
Isn't that
Holy shit. That's a snowmobile?
Yeah. 10,000 RPMs.
That's wicked.
Is what he's going.
Yeah, that sounds like a fucking tornado siren.
Yeah.
My God.
So
You hear that in the woods? You'd be so freaked out. You'd think the world is ending.
Yeah.
might hear it on Pine Lake one day.
Yeah.
One day?
Hopefully, we're gonna ask him.
be
We're
cool.
gonna ask him for sure. But we'll give Austin a call here and see what he's got to say.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Second call-in guest.
Forgot more stickers on the table.
Oh shoot, we did.
Gentlemen,
Austin Leeck, how is it going? You're live on Shop Talk Podcast.
what's going on?
Nothing. We just we were viewing your YouTube, and now I'm all jazzed up because I got to hear that old triple.
Oh, just wait. I got some things coming up. Be uploading.
Another monoblock?
No. No, those are too light and don't put out enough power.
I hear you.
So yeah, Austin, we just played your video of you going across the lake on the old triple for Brody here because he'd never heard that before. And what'd you say, Brody?
Sounds like a tornado siren.
It's an air raid siren. The county should hire me.
Yeah, exactly. I said if you heard that in the middle of the woods, you'd think the world was ending.
Yeah, that's a happy sound for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for the time tonight, Austin. We got plenty to talk about with you for sure.
Yeah, we can talk about anything you want.
Hey, are you
as long as it doesn't get me in trouble?
Are you on like AirPods or something?
Nope, I have you on speakerphone.
Oh, you're kind of muffled right now.
Okay, 1 second. Let's try this.
See what? Yeah.
And we'll be right back after these messages.
Okay, I'm here.
Oh yeah,
What
yeah.
is it?
All right, there you go.
That's better. Yep.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I had to take my phone case off.
Oh no, yeah, that sounds good. So Austin, a little bit of breaking news to kind of start it off with here. We may or may not see you on an enduro or a F3 sled come this year.
You will not. I decided to take a step back from enduro racing and in the F3 this year. After my Lincoln wreck, which was the last race of the year, I ended up breaking my shoulder, and that's 10 out of 10. Do not recommend any shoulder injuries. It's been a really long road to get it healed up, and it's still not back to 100%. I did quite a bit of physical therapy where it was feeling really good. I had more range of motion in my bad shoulder than my good one, and I got done with it. And I spent a weekend working on my boat and overdid it, and it just hasn't been right since. So as we get closer to the season, I will probably go back for physical therapy again, just to make sure that I can get it as good as I can before race season. But ultimately, I didn't feel comfortable with being on a team and then having them rely on me to enduro race or race the F3, just for the simple fact that I don't know how good my shoulder is going to be come race season. For example, I can go golf 18 holes, and the next 3 days my shoulder has like no strength in it, and it's super sore. And by not doing enduro and not doing the F3, it's essentially I'm with the Myra program in Eagle River. I'm only going to be racing one day. I won't be doing back-to-back days. And I just rather give them the heads up that I'm not going to race than they anticipate me racing. And then on Sunday, I'd be like, yeah, I can't do it. Or even if it's sore or it's weak, I don't want to put myself at risk. And I at least know I can recover a week at a time instead of going back-to-back days. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I'm going to miss it. But it ultimately just lets me put more focus into my own personal program and put all my eggs into one basket this season for it.
So then for the Hoos Racing machine that you were on last year, is it just going to be Carlson and Quick on it then, or what?
As of right now, yeah, for the half mile stuff, they pretty much proved the Lincoln race that they didn't really need me as they ended up winning the race. But yeah, it'll be them for half mile, and then the Sioux. I don't know who they're going to have for a third person. I know there's some things in the works, but I don't really want to let that cat out of the bag yet. So, sure. It's a familiar name, I'll say that, but that's all I want to say. I don't want to speak too soon.
Is it Kyle Grover?
No,
it might be.
One day we'll be out there.
Hey.
Austin, do you know Kyle?
No, never met him. I feel like I do through the podcast. So yeah, we'll call it. Yeah, we'll say yeah.
Yeah, no, sure. I'm a very avid Austin Leeck racing fan. I see all the old posts, and I leave a like,
Do your part.
Yeah, I do.
I like to hear it. Yeah. I like to hear it.
No, you got some sweet shit. That's like right up my alley. Is that old '90s stuff? And I kind of wanted to talk about your Gen 2 aggressive build or whatever. And it's a '97 XCR engine, right? And then with a Gen 2 clip on it.
Yeah. So the power plant is a '97 XCR Case Reed Fuji triple. been reworked by Doug Flannery, stuffed cases, ported, and he didn't want to do a set of heads for me, but I ended up finding a set of PSI race heads for it. And it's got some trick stuff on the intake, I'll say. It's pretty one-off. But yeah, the power plant's a 97 XCR motor, and then the chassis itself is actually a 95 XCR. So when I originally had built it, I think it was like 2019, I had my Sportsman 600, which was an XLT 95X XCR with an XLT motor. And then the following year, we were like, oh, let's see if we can get some more power out of it. So I built my blue sled. At the time, it had a Mod XLT engine in it, and it was still a wedge chassis. It had the white hood and the wedge belly pan.
Yep.
And so then I loved the way that the Gen 2 looked. It was always my favorite over the wedge. My dad was really big into the wedges, and so I ended up driving down to Mickey's Sleds and more, and I bought a 550 Super Sport belly pan for it, and it fits right on. So that's what gave me the look for it, the look of the Gen 2, and then I have a lightweight polycarbonate mountain bit hood on it. So it's pretty one-off. Getting that case reed motor into that chassis was a task in itself, because it was just, I had never done it before. And luckily I had Craig Kuby, who's one of my sponsors. He owns a machine shop, and I think we did it the right way. We took our time with it, and the alignment's like dead nuts on, and getting the offset right, and making sure the carbs don't hit the steering post. Like it was quite the ordeal. But now that it's all said and done, I don't think I can ever get rid of it. I have way too much money into it, and I'm in love with it. And yeah, I think once this Skidoo gets built, I'm still going to have it. Maybe we'll put it on a shelf. Maybe I'll have somebody else drive it if I'm going to be racing the Skidoo. But
well, give me a call. If there was a sled that I ever wanted to build, it was the 97 aggressive chassis. But I don't like the hoods and stuff. I like the case reed triple. That's like a dream build of mine. Was the case reed 600 just for Pine Lake. So maybe one day you'll see me out there on the world's ugliest snowmobile. But
oh man, they are ugly.
Yeah, for right now we're on the old wedge. So.
Hey, well, yeah.
No. Gunner, see me shaking my head. You said you're building a Skidoo.
Yeah, do you want to get into that, Gunner, right now?
Yeah, you can. That was on my list here, talking about the blue sled and the start of the Skidoo, because you've teased a little bit of it. Like last spring, you posted a YouTube video about the starting of the build, and then we haven't really seen much of it from you this summer, but just a few Snapchats here and there from you. But what's the origin story of why the Skidoo? Is it Cataract Skidoo?
Yeah. So to give you guys a rundown or a little backstory, my dad started racing for Greg the first year that Greg started racing. Like my dad and Greg were at the time best friends, still are really good friends. And my dad started racing for Greg on Polaris's, and then as the years went down the road, Greg switched to Skidoo one year, and Greg ended up getting 2 factory Formula 3 race sleds right from Valcourt. Norman Pilat built both of them. And my dad always, between my dad and Todd Cricky and Greg and everybody telling me stories from back in the day about how those things just absolutely hauled the mail, and they just put out some wicked horsepower numbers. I've always wanted to build one, and in talking with Trevor, my buddy Trevor Davidson, he's like a huge Skidoo guy, and he's convincing me, telling me to build one. Anyways, rewind like 3 years ago, we ended up my dad ended up talking to Dave Edmondson, who's a huge Skidoo guy over here in Michigan. At the time, Dave had told my dad that he had one of those chassis, one of those two chassis that Cataract had bought. And at the time, we didn't really want to pursue it because I think we had 10 Indy chassis between in the shop or behind the shop, and I just didn't have the money or resources to allocate to building a Skidoo. Well, after this last season, I was like, man, I think we need to do something to be faster. Talking to Doug with my case reed motor, he's like, yeah, you're pretty much there. I have the best pipes on it. He's like, I don't know if you're going to get much more speed out of it other than putting the thing on a diet. So, and I don't think I can make it any lighter than what it is. So I ended up calling Dave Edmondson and talking to him and giving him, like, he knew that my dad had raced that chassis at one point in time. And he's like, oh, I have all that stuff. And from back in the day, he's like, I got pipes, I got motors, I got chassis, yada, yada, yada. So I ended up striking a deal with him. I told him, I said, well, just you give me a date. And he's over in Traverse City, so it's like 2.5 hours away. I was like, you give me a date that's good for you. Dad and I will drive over, and we'll see what you have. We'll gather everything up, and we'll talk money, and we can come to an agreement on the price of whatever you have and what we're interested in. And I'll bring it home. Oh man, I got a call coming in. I'm not answering it. Let me.
Who is it?
Yeah, I hope you don't answer it.
Yeah, bring him on.
If it's Trevor, merge him in.
Yeah.
No, it's not Trevor. So Dad and I hooked up the race trailer and we headed over there, and he had a 95 and a half Skidoo Formula 3, which I think they only made like 400 of them that year, which are super rare. He had one of those. He had the chassis that my dad had raced. He had some motors out, had some pipes, had track, had a ton of stuff. Dad and I sat there and we bench raced, talked with him for, 4 hours. And if you don't know Dave Edmondson, he's a cherry farmer in Traverse City, very lucrative career. And he has these barns full of Skidoo stuff. He has like an original twin tracker that looks brand new. If you've seen any vintage pictures of twin trackers, he owns the Valvoline one. It has the Valvoline,
the white and blue one.
Yeah, and it's brand new. Like it's immaculate. You wouldn't even believe it. You'd think like someone teleported it to 2023 from 1991 or whatever year.
That's cool.
So, yeah. Anyways, long story short, we go to make him an offer on it, and he tells me, I would just like to see you have all this stuff. Like, it's got sentimental value to you. And I'm like, just absolutely floored. So Dad and I threw all the stuff in the trailer, brought it home, and we unloaded it all. And then I did that YouTube video, or maybe it was Snapchat, and maybe some Facebook posts, and that was it. Like I didn't really do much with it because summer was getting here and I didn't feel like working on sleds yet. And then let's go back to like maybe the end of July of this year. We had my dad had talked to one of an old oval racer that used to run Myra back in the early 2000s, was talking to him, and the gentleman had bought Cataract sled from Cataract, the second one. And that guy told us, he's like, oh yeah, I sold it to so-and-so. So he had his phone number. We ended up calling him, and it was still in Alpena. So we drove over there, looked at it, and it was in way better shape than the one that Dave Edmondson gave me. The one that Dave Edmondson gave me was all beefed up because they had ran it in Sioux at one point in time. So the bulkhead has a lot of aluminum bracing on it and different sway bar locations. And this one that I got in Alpena is like mint. So We kind of started from scratch again because the one we got from Edmondson, we drilled all the rivets out of it, got it just to be the tunnel, and I was going to get a new, or just the bulkhead, and I was going to get a new tunnel from Mickey's and put a new tunnel on it. Well, that one kind of got set aside, and the one that was in Alpena, we're going to be building. And right now I'm in the process of getting rivets replaced on it and all that stuff. So I have both of the same exact factory race sleds that my dad raced back in the day for Cataract, which is super cool. And if you follow my YouTube, I have a Sioux video from like 1995 of my dad and I think Jeff Kiffmiller. They were riding it together, and they couldn't keep the engines at the Sioux together for that long. 200 laps in at 10.2, the engines just weren't lasting long because they had them wicked right up so much. But
running pretty hot then.
Yeah, but that's the reason why we want to do it, because my dad's telling me stories about back in the day where those Skidoos are going over. I think my dad told me they did 123 miles an hour at Sioux with the Purple Screamer. So
holy shit, that's crazy.
That is my goal, is to go faster than that, because ultimately it should be lighter than what they were racing with back in the day. Because I'm going to do like a wall skid in it and get a lightweight hood and lightweight seat, and I don't need a huge tank. And yeah, it should be pretty cool when it's all said and done. And it's just not going to get done this year. It's too big of a project. There's a lot of custom pieces to it that I could get into. The whole bulkhead's custom. The engine's lowered like 4 inches from the stock location because the engine like bolts right to the bottom of the bulkhead. Got custom steering, and yeah, it's nuts. Once it's done, I plan on doing a YouTube video review of it, showing all the custom stuff on it. And I have to get billet aluminum pieces made because all that stuff, it's from 1995, and all the steering components I want to have brand new, because both of those sleds did get enduro raced, and I don't feel like using the custom pieces that are 25, 30 years old. So yeah, it's time consuming figuring out what we're going to do with it, and getting new parts made. So it's a 2-year deal. Next year it will be done for sure.
It'll be Pine Lake.
Yeah, Pine Lake.
No, it only goes left. It's only going to go left.
Oh yeah, sounds like a hell of a project.
Yeah, that is a wicked cool story behind it too.
Yeah, and you like everything's so custom on those old things like that you can't really just order OEM stuff. I mean, everything's pretty much got to be hand built again.
Yeah, I was doing some YouTube videos today. I was filming in the shop, and I touched on it. It's not like a standard Polaris Indy where, the Indies, you didn't need to do much to them to make them handle really well on the ice. And like, if you want to build a Polaris Indy oval sled, you just got to go buy a couple chassis and you can take good parts, or Wall Brothers sells every Polaris oval part that you could probably need to build a sled. For Skidoos, you don't really have that option. Everything's metric, and yeah, it's tough.
Non-American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go, Kyle. All you got to do is just get a couple chassis and
listen, brother, I've been through it before.
Yeah, I wasn't bullshitting you. When Dad and I built our 2 Sportsman sleds, I think we had 11 chassis at the shop, just because like it's cheaper at the time when we were building. It was like 2018, 2019. You could still go buy a blown up XCR for $200.
Yeah, just to get it out of somebody's yard for them.
Yeah, it was easier to buy a whole chassis than to buy a $400 loose motor that someone was trying to sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So that was the route we went, or you needed to buy 4 sleds to build one good one.
Yeah, some Frankenstein monster.
That's all good, brother.
So yeah, they between Austin and the Dorns, they probably have a pretty good boneyard between between those two.
Yeah, yeah.
We took a ton to the scrapyard. I still have 195 XCR chassis that I had stripped clean. That's just like a donor in case something catastrophic happens with Old Blue. But yeah, I took a lot to the scrapyard. I wasn't very easy on getting parts off sleds, saws on, shock towers off to get trailing off. I didn't have time for that.
Yeah, especially with working on those old things too. Especially when you get it out of somebody's yard, you know everything is just going to be seized up on them.
Trailing arm bolts, guaranteed.
Yep.
Stuck.
Yeah.
So Austin,
Can't be stuck
with
with the liquid.
oh, sorry.
I said it can't be stuck if it was a liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Skidoo is being built over the year then. So only doing old mod races and like open 600 then at Myra or what?
Yeah, I'm going to do Eagle River will have the old mod 600 class again because a lot of the Myra people who go over to Eagle River also have old mods. So Craig Marchbank's like really good with having those. Plus they put on quite a show. I'll also be doing Myra pretty much just the old mod enduro class and the open 600 class.
So what's the difference between the old mod enduro class and like the sportsman 600 at Eagle?
Well, the old mod 600 is pretty much open. Anything that's 10 years or older can run in it.
Yep.
You can run pipes. You can have a mod motor. You can run a wall skid. You can have lightweight parts. You can change, your shock locations. You can put shock tower extensions on versus the Sportsman 600 class, which is you can pretty much throw pipes on it. You got to keep the same, the skid has to stay within the manufacturer. You can have an offset front end, but they're more stock based than the old mod 600. Yeah, stock motors is probably the biggest.
Oh, okay. Oh, so there is more different between the two than I was thinking, at least.
Those are my two favorite classes, right up my alley. Love seeing.
Yeah.
Which one is your? Sorry. Which one is your favorite class to run, the open or the more stock?
Oh, definitely the old mod class. Like my stock, my white and purple Sportsman 600, it feels so slow compared to my mod. And with the mod sled, you can have a 45-inch front end, and you put a 45-inch front end on a Gen 2 versus a 42-inch front end. It's a huge difference.
So let's settle the debate right now for somebody that's gone through it and built the stuff. Is a monoblock better than a Liberty twin?
You know what? I would say no.
I'm right there with you.
Troy Dewald races a Sportsman 600 twin, and he's got twin pipes on it, and the thing spins at like 10,000 RPMs, and the thing like damn near keeps up with my old mod. Like it's quick.
Yeah, that thing is wicked. Gen 2 2000 XC.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
XCSP with the rat carbs.
Yeah.
That's if you're gonna build a Sportsman, you want that. Throw some twin pipes on it, and man, yeah, that thing. It rips.
One just came up
XLT
for sale in Bagley, $1,500. There you go, Gunner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think Artie Cat would kind of shy away from that.
We'll just paint it black.
Yeah.
Troy DeWall is there at Articat.
Paint it green.
Yeah. So
You could pull a Dalton Fredrickson race F500, put a cat hood on it.
Yeah. I see he's still selling cat hoods too. So
He's done racing.
yeah, still selling hoods though.
Yeah.
So Austin at Eagle River, you're an old mod, 3-time Eagle River champ.
One-time old mod.
Oh,
Oh shoot, you're putting me on the spot. I've won Eagle River 3 times at Sportsman 600.
Oh, okay. The class is mixed up then.
Yeah, just one time. The first year, not last year, but the year before, when I took my old mod there, it was when I went out for the first race. It was the first time we had ran it all year. We didn't have any testing out on the lake, and I'll give you an example of how slow we were. We went out and I took it out and had my data on, and I was only spinning like 8,500 or 8,300 RPMs. And when we finally got that all figured out with the JAWS pipes, it wouldn't go anywhere unless you were spinning the motor at like 10.2, 10.3. So
Holy shit.
When I went out and raced, I think I finished like 5th or 6th. It was embarrassing actually, but yeah.
Was it? What I thought I heard something at around the races this past winter that you got some pipes from Todd Cricky or something. Was that?
Yeah. Yep. So after that first year, I ran first year with my mod, not last year, but the year before. I had a brand new set of JAWS pipes built, and they were actually pretty good. Like they pulled pretty good. I got good mile an hour out of them, but I had to spin that motor to the moon. And I just reached out to Todd and I was like, "Hey, do you have any pipes for this K3 triple?" And he's like, "I have a set of Ruglands." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need to get my hands on those if you're willing to borrow them out." He won't sell them to me, so I'm still officially borrowing them. So I had a work trip down in Lansing, which is like an hour from his house. And one night I drove over there, and lo and behold, he had them hanging on the wall, and they're just like not a speck of rust on them. They're just cherry. I was like, "Yeah, let's see what I can do to get these on my sled." So I ended up bringing them home and had to just make a few alterations to the can because the chassis that they were in, his motor was lower than mine, and I just had to make some alterations to the can itself. But I'm so happy I did because the motor spins at like 9,400 now, and the crank is probably thanking me. The power difference though, like when I look at my data and I look at my mile an hour curve, if I overlap it at Lincoln from the year before, I was doing 99 miles an hour at Lincoln with my JAWS pipes, and I'd like just barely touched 100 with those Ruglands. So maybe they're a little bit better, but it's just more economical for the motor to run at 9,300.
For sure. Brody, do you know why they lower the engine?
No, not really.
Oh, no. To get the center of gravity as low as they can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's
Hug the ice a little better.
Yeah. That's extreme modification there.
That is. That's going above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Yeah, and like you can go one up with building those chassis, where back in the day they were, if you set an Indy chassis, like if it's just the chassis and a bulkhead and you sit it down on a bench, and you have the tunnel perfectly level, the bulkhead itself actually is kind of tilted upwards. And back in the day, what they would do is they would actually tilt the bulkhead down, because it would let them lower the sled more. With kind of think of it as like a V shape in stock form. And when they would lower them too much, the driver would hit. So by tipping the bulkhead, you could get the sleds actually lower, and they would handle better. I didn't do it because that was like a huge task, and I didn't have time to do that. But these Skidoos actually have their tip bulkheads right from the factory.
Though don't Firecats kind of turn or rotate their engine a little bit to get them lower in the sled?
Yeah, they lean the engine back.
Yeah,
that was,
and the carbs are up front.
Oh yeah. I remember Dad telling me about that one day.
Yep. Yeah. So that was something new to what they were doing for production wise. What the heck did I have next on my list here? So could you ever bring that old mod, Austin, to Pine Lake if you put a set of straight bars on it and turned it to the right?
I'd have to take the kick plate off of it. I don't think it would actually pass whatever tech you have, because I have that 45-inch front end. No, I think it's.
We have our pro open class is pretty much open rule comparable to the Sioux
or nothing.
What's a
There's
kick plate?
there's no way I could bring that sled and run it in Pro Open with it being 24 years old.
Yeah, you can.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you can, big time. It
I don't
two
know.
sleds at the Pine Lake.
Yeah,
anyways.
we don't have no 10-year rule for Pro Open here.
It's open. You,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
Run whatever.
I'd get laughed at, man. That would be. I don't know. That would be
Wait,
quite.
would you get laughed at?
I don't think people would be laughing just listening to that thing going down the
yeah.
mile-long straightaway across Pine Lake.
That would be wild to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if it would make a mile long pole. That would be.
Yeah. And you can watch
Maybe
out
a-
for the snowbank at the end. That's
Yeah,
where
with
it's
it being-
pointed straight up.
My air dam and radiator would be destroyed because I know I'd blow a corner, and next thing you know, those little feet don't go through snowbanks.
Yeah, we had at Park Rapids a few years ago. They had us damn near do a full 2-mile pull.
Really?
Yeah, like it was a full 2 miles with one little
Yep.
like let off in the
Yep.
middle. And I can't remember how many Pro Open mod sleds died
Yeah,
during
I
that race.
remember that. It
Because that was Ben Langus's first Pro Open win.
Okay.
Because he won that day. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's probably
Because he messed up and put big jets in it.
but yeah, I think there's 5 or 6 at least that blew up that day.
Just because it's
No
such
kidding.
a long run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I was racing the classic class, and I had the key and carb still on the old fucking Liberty. And towards like about the mid when it started getting wound out,
Yeah.
it was so hot that day. I ended up putting too much fuel to it, so it would bog like no other when you were making time. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, because that track was like a 2 mile long straightaway, and then like I think it was 60 tight corners
Yeah.
on the other side of the track.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, it was like 8 miles of corners.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That would be fun to be able to turn right once in a while.
Yeah, when was I like asking the oval guys. So I know you did like a cross country race back in like 2018 or 19, but like on the ice, when was the last time you ever turned to the right?
Never.
Never. Are you shitting me? Oh my God. That's insane.
Get off the other end of that sled.
That's wild.
I turned right in snowcross, but yeah, I never did any lake races. Whether it was all the races I did with my cat was ski hill cross country races.
Yeah, I asked Troy DeWald that at the Sioux like maybe when I first went out there with those guys just in the trailer. I said, "What was the last time you turned to the right?" And he kind of looked at me. He's like, thought about it for a second. He said, "Probably 95."
Holy shit.
Yeah, like I think we should run a Myra race to the right, Austin. What do you think the people would think about that?
You'd have a lot of wadded up sleds. People don't know how to turn right.
I feel like I
They
could
put a
do,
throttle on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
like I could do
Could you imagine?
on my stalker sled. I could probably go do 3 laps to the left, and then go do 3 laps to the right, and then probably have the same lap times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't think so. No way. That'd be so weird.
That's just weird.
Yeah.
Just not even using the right side of your sled.
Yeah.
What you guys got to think too, like where I'm at in Michigan, we don't get the snow that you guys get, and a lot of these Meyer guys are already at a disadvantage for racing against the Minnesota and Wisconsin and North Dakota people, because we go out and race, and when our first enduro race, like a lot of guys don't even get the test before, and you just get, you don't get any time to try to get in shape other than going to the gym, which can only get you so far. You need to ride,
Right. And Gunner's out there at fucking
Gunner's out there. Yeah,
Be on the lake
Gunner.
2 weeks.
Yeah, Gunner's got 6,000 miles on sled before Christmas.
Yeah. That was one of my questions on to how do we get Myra guys to come to Pine Lake? Like,
Ooh.
how do we? Because
Well, I know it's been talked about. Like when I was with Hoose's, Tommy was wanting us to go out and do a Pine Lake race, just take 2 sleds or whatever. And I think it just comes down to not being ready. Everybody's usually last minute with their sleds. They get it done like a week or two before the race. And usually our first race is when is the Pine Lake race? Isn't it?
It's like the second weekend in December. So like
that's wicked early for these teams. Seriously.
Yeah, because if we could get you guys out here and do some early season riding, because when I showed up at Eagle River this past year for my first time, like I know a lot of teams hadn't even touched the ice yet, and I already had like 2,500 miles on for the year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, it's so insane.
Yeah, that's insane for you, but for us, it's just normal.
Yeah, because I ran
so
that
normal.
whole pro enduro by myself with Cataract that last year, and people were like, "Geez, you're gonna be able to do that by yourself?" It's like, yeah, it's only 60 miles or something.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an advantage. Like I know my dad and I were talking about it just like a couple weeks ago about, man, if we could just like when my lake freezes over, I live on a lake and we've gone out and tested or whatever, but it's hard to just put a ton of laps on a sprint sled, you know?
Yeah.
So just in the wear and tear on a sprint sled and all that stuff. But man, it would just be, I thought about buying like an XCR or whatever and putting a set of handlebars on it and just leaving it stock and just going out and pounding laps, beat the hell out of it and whatever. But that would definitely be a plus. But it would have to be at night because, most of us guys, we work, 8 to 5 jobs or whatever. And I don't work swing shift or anything like that to be able to get out and go test during the day. It would have to be nighttime. And then once our season starts, it's like every weekend. If you've seen the Myra schedule, we don't get a break at all.
Yeah. It is a packed schedule this year for sure.
It'll be nice. I really hope we have the weather to have every Myra race. Is that your plan? Are you planning to do every Myra race? Or?
You'll have to ask Greg. I have no idea.
Just when he calls and say, "Hey, I need you here tomorrow."
Yeah. No, I don't. I guess I don't know what the exact plan is, but I'd be fine or happy with just like Eagle River and the Sioux and Lincoln again, because for me it's all of 12 hours out there to where you guys are at. So.
Oh, I know, it's a haul.
So yeah, I can make the trip out there once or twice a year, and you guys got to make the trip out to Pine Lake once a year.
Oh, yeah, once.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I think for a lot of guys too, like a lot of Myra teams, I don't want to speak for a lot of them, but one trip, like a lot of the Myra guys, they think one trip to Eagle River is far enough haul. And that's only like for us, I think it's like 7 hours. And a lot of guys, think that that's too far of a drive, the Myra guys. So I don't know. I think that the distance thing is probably the biggest factor in not having sleds ready.
Yeah, like that's about what it was for us to Eagle River. This from our house here is like 6.5 hours to Eagle River. But like I can't imagine like bussies.
Yeah,
they live down by Green Bay and they come up to northern Minnesota every
weekend. Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh, that's a lot of fuel money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like Faust, they were in southern Wisconsin as well, and they were, I don't know how many trips they made.
Mm-hmm.
Those Faust boys, they were coming to Michigan for the No Bull tour.
Yep. Yeah. That was one of my questions here is what happened to the No Bull Triple Crown, because that was when enduro guys did come to Pine Lake. We did have a few enduro guys come to Pine Lake for that No Bull Triple Crown race.
Yep.
Yeah. No Bull started because Myra was on a pretty bad downward spiral where we were unsure if we were going to have another season, and a gentleman by the name of Mike Higgins came in, and I think he was fairly wealthy, and he used to race enduro back in the day in Michigan and wanted to see the race circuit start back up and be successful. And you can get people to come out of the woodwork when you're putting up $15,000 payouts.
Yeah.
And it did. I remember the year I raced with Hoosas in 2015, I remember being at the Lincoln track and we were doing single file restarts and we had 38 sleds, and I remember because I had flipped the sled and I started at the back of the pack, and like they were going green, and I was just like barely getting into turn 3, and I was like looking around, all these sleds in a single file line. I'm like, there are a lot of sleds in this track right now. But no, we had a ton of people, and I can't remember if it was two years we raced, and all the races were 500 laps. So the wear and tear on the sleds was a lot. And then, unfortunately, January of 2017, I had a good friend, Billy Travis, pass away racing in Mount Pleasant. It was one of those deals where we were racing under the lights at night, and it was like 0 degrees out, and there wasn't sufficient enough lighting on the track, and they were running, I think it was the semi-pro enduro, and they inverted the field, and he was out front and spun out, and when he spun out, the sled hit one of these huge, it was like a 4x6 hay bale, and it just bounced him and the sled back in the track, and there was 20 other guys coming through. And I think that was probably the downturn of the Noble, because there was a lot of unhappy people. We lost a person, and then it was just one of those deals where I think a lot of people were unhappy that we were even put in that situation. And I don't even know if that guy's in Michigan anymore. So that was like the downturn of it. And then Myra started back up again. Carl Schwartz took over being the president of Myra, and Charlie Wiltsey was the operations guy, and they pretty much built Myra back up from scratch. And now Myra is where it is today, and it's just a huge machine, and it's successful. And we have more entries. We had more entries last year than we ever have, and we're planning to have even more people race Myra this year. So.
Yeah, like for sure, it is on the upswing for sure.
Yeah, we're all pumped about it, especially the live stream at every race or whatever now. So
yeah, it'll be really interesting. I'm on the Myra board, but I'm not a part of the Myra Race Network committee, just because Charlie and a few other people kind of spearheaded that. But everything that I've been hearing in the meetings and from oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. The guy's name that's running it with Charlie. It's going to be awesome and better. We're going to have more cameras than we did with Flow. They're working on getting I think it was a Formula One announcer in to announce some of these races, and then I think they're going to have some people that have some race background in announcing, and they promise that they're just not going to show the leader every lap, that
would be a huge upswing for even watching the Sioux and stuff the past year.
For the Sioux,
the Sioux though, what's going on with the Sioux though, Austin?
So the Sioux will still have. So Myra had their own contract with Flow Racing. The Sioux has their own contract with Flow Racing, and Eagle River has their own contract with Flow. So Myra Race Network won't be doing the live race of the Enduro at Eagle River, and Myra won't be a part of the Sioux. The Sioux is its own entity. They're their own circuit, and they are still under contract with Flow, and Flow will be doing that. So the Myra Race Network will just strictly be covering Gaylord, Traverse City, Lincoln, and Kinross.
That's always
both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, that's always been so strange to me on how the Sioux is its own separate thing, and it's not really a part of Myra at all.
It's like the Daytona 500. It's the biggest thing in snowmobiling,
but it's not even a part of, like, at least the Daytona race is a part of like the Sprint Cup. Like this would be Daytona, but it's just its own race. Like,
it's so big that it's its own thing still.
Well, it's been around for so long too.
It's cool,
it's been around since '69.
It's cool though when you just watch the leader and it's your brother.
You just get to watch him.
Yeah, that's what it's the best. It's like, they only watch the leader, and it happens to be my brother.
First showed up out there, and then the spindle broke.
Yeah,
and I turned it back on, and I was like, oh, well, now I don't get to watch
then it sucks. Yeah,
at least
They should show like battles going on.
Yeah.
Like they.
What, you guys
do
don't want to see Gunner go down the front stretch with his ski backwards?
We briefly got to see it.
Yeah, they missed that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was some terrible luck, man. You guys were hauling ass.
Yeah, I would like to think that we didn't have any other issues go on the whole rest of the day. That I would like to think that we were on our way to potentially win.
Oh yeah. If you had luck on your side, you guys definitely would have been right there at the end.
Yeah, because when it broke, I was 27 seconds ahead of Tate in second place.
It was
wild. We were the only 2 sleds on the lead lap.
That's it? Come on, Gunner.
Yeah, I know. Just jumping on a brand new sled I'd never ridden.
Yeah.
Come on.
This year we got to see Aaron Christensen blow a track.
Yeah,
he was hauling.
Yeah, that was actually interesting to see that they caught that on camera.
Yeah, I was like, oh no,
because we were in the trailer and we were watching it at that time too, and you seen just one chunk come out, and it was like, and then a whole bunch of chunks flew out. I was like, Aaron blew a track.
Yep.
Yeah, he was putting a gap on the field.
Yeah, he was going good at that time too.
Oh yeah, good times at the Sioux. I haven't had very good luck there the last 3 times I've raced it.
I passed Austin at the Sioux this past year because your guys' sled was having issues at some point when I passed him, we were kind of coming out of turn 4 there and going down the front stretch, and he was on my left. And I didn't take the time to look at him though. I just stuck my left hand out and just gave him a thumbs up
as you passed him.
As I passed him.
Yeah, I was excited. You know, we had a good sled. I don't even know what place. I think we were running maybe top 5. LJ and Jordan got on it. I was like, yeah, I'll get on third. No big deal. And you know, they were ripping. We had good straightaway speed, and I get on the sled. I think what would it be, lap 200. And we go on, like I got on the sled, and as I came out on pit road, I'm like, the sled was like squealing, and we had just changed brake pads. I was like, the brakes aren't dragging. Did they mess up on the brake pad change or whatever? And it was almost like it was like engine braking. The sled was engine braking, and we go green, and everybody's just blowing my doors off down the straightaway. I'm like, what in the heck? And it was down on RPMs, and so I ran that 100 lap segment, and we had changed clutching like 3 different times, just kept lightening the weights because I think it needed to run at 92 and it was spinning at 8,800 and just couldn't even get out of its own way. And people are just going by me left and right, and I'm just fuming under the helmet. I'm like, what in the hell is going on with this thing? And sure as shit, as soon as the 100 lap segment got over with mine, Jordan got on it, and it ended up seizing up. The crank bearing was going out of it. That was the squealing I was hearing. And we couldn't get the clutch off because the crank was so hot. It had expanded. And we were beating the hell out of the clutch puller, and that would explain why. But yeah, it was frustrating knowing we had a good sled and just bad luck. I think we were the only EFI new Polaris that had a crank bearing failure. So just call it bad luck. But yeah, good times at the Sioux. I got a lot of stories like that.
Complete and just failure.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy on any racing on how much luck goes into it.
Yeah,
that's like anything.
Yeah. True, so true.
Well, magnify any racing luck times 10 at the Sioux, because you got to have it there. If you have any little Scotia bad luck, it's going to come out there.
Or any mistakes, when you're running 2 seconds between each other, you kind of take a corner to the outside, a little bit, and then the other person cuts it down on the inside. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah. That's like luck. Even with your marathon, Brody, I was like praying that you didn't get like sick or something like the week prior.
Oh, me too.
Coming up to it.
My God, me too. I'm
just anything even like that.
Yeah, I know.
I got to give you some mad props for that.
Oh, thank
Doing
you.
a marathon is no easy task. I run in the off season, and like the most I've ever ran was like 7 miles. And hearing you run a marathon, I'm like, I don't even know how it's possible.
Yeah, I didn't think it was possible either when I was running it. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's super cool, and that's just something to hang your hat on, because it's impressive, and you have to be so mentally tough to do that.
Yeah, thank you. I still can't really believe I did it. Like just yesterday, I'm like, God damn, I ran a marathon.
You bought a house and
week
you ran
ago.
a marathon. That's like
My life has changed so
can,
much
you
in the
can
last.
retire now.
like I have a totally different life now.
Yeah.
In the last 5 months of my life, it's wild. But yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. It's impressive.
You want to get into moto right
Yeah,
now?
let's do some frickin' motocross.
Sure. Yeah, we can bounce around. So, Austin's actually an avid listener of Pulp MX also. And as am I. Austin actually calls in. I'm too nervous to call in.
Oh, come on. What the hell? Can't be too nerve-wracking.
Call in, voicemails, you name it.
Oh, you've left voicemails for him.
Oh, yeah, I leave voicemails often. They don't get played very much, though. I think I've only had one voicemail get played.
Oh, really? Oh, hey, did you get to go to any nationals this year, Austin? Like Redbud or?
No, Redwood's it's like a 5-hour drive, and it's always on the 4th of July weekend, and we're big boat people, so
Hell yeah.
I never get to. Yeah, I'd much rather spend the 90-degree day on my boat and just watch it on Peacock than the next morning.
Like the party.
but it is on my to-do list of things to do. I definitely want to go to Redbud. Even when I was riding and racing dirt bikes, I've yet to ride Redbud. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was really jealous of the Pulp MX ride day they just had down at Spring Creek, because I was actually.
Did you email about it?
No, I didn't. But I was planning on going down there on the Sunday on the open ride day. But Brody's Marathon kind of put the kibosh to that as like that.
Oh yeah.
It was because I wanted to be around for it. But it was also so close to snowmobiling season right now too that I didn't want to go ride Millville and crash and break a collarbone.
That makes sense.
This close.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
that's understandable.
Being this close to it.
I've had that excuse all summer.
Kyle, you went to what national did you go to this year?
Southwick this year. I didn't get a chance to go to Unadilla, but both those tracks were very close from where I lived. Yeah.
Yeah, in New York.
Yep. But Southwick was pretty sweet. The 250 was pretty entertaining. The 450, you know how the 450 season went,
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I wanted to ask Austin, because me and my dad we went to Millville this year and watched the Pro Nationals. Do you think Jet could be the GOAT?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Even though he hasn't officially. Yeah, he's gonna be. He hasn't ran the 450 Supercross yet.
I'd say for the Nationals, he's Ricky Carmichael.
Yeah, I mean, would it have been a different story if Eli Tomac and Barsha and Ken Roxon all raced all summer long? Absolutely. Do I think he has a perfect season? No. Just I think he has the talent to against those guys, but. When you're just one bad hole shot away from letting Ken Roxon get a good one and running away with it, or Eli Tomac getting a good hole shot, and it's hard to overcome a lot of that adversity when there's just let's just call it 5 extra top guys. Yeah, the class wasn't stacked, but it's still impressive what he did. I mean, to have the mental toughness and the consistency all year. He didn't pull every hole shot. He came back, worked his way up through the pack a few times, and still won. And I don't want to say this to discredit him, but you got to think the age definitely has a factor in his endurance. I know when I was 18 or 19, the endurance was there. You didn't. Not that you didn't have to. I would say you just didn't have to work out as hard or as much as opposed to what Dean Wilson 31. I'm 31, and I know at my age I'd have to be busting my ass to go do 2 30-minute motos. So, Gunnar, do you think that being 19 helps rather than being 28 or 30?
For sure, it definitely helps. You kind of have that kid energy still, almost. I'd be able to, back in a senior year, you'd be able to play football games back to back to back, day after day. But nowadays it'd take a little more toll on the body.
I feel that, but I feel like I could kick my 18-year-old self's ass.
Oh, for sure. Now. For like man strength and whatnot too.
That, and then my recovery isn't as good, but strength and everything, is far beyond.
Well, what about energy though? Like,
I don't know, man. I got fucking energy all the time.
Me too. I mean, me too. But yeah.
I think Hayden. Yeah. I was going to say, I think Hayden Deegan is in the same boat right now. Like he's 18. Let's wait and see how. Well, I think he's a generational talent as well. But you just wait and see what he's going to be like at 23, 24. And same with Jet. I think they're both going to be extremely good. And to even have Jet be in the conversation, or the Pulp Show and Ricky Carmichael and all them, and they talk about, well, can Jet break Jeremy's record for Supercross wins? Like, he's young enough, but when you look at it on paper of how many races he would need to win each year and stay healthy, man, that's tough.
Yeah, for sure. With Tomac and Webb and Roxon and all these guys, they're prolonging their careers, and even Anderson, if he's hot on a night too.
Yeah.
But what I think is watching him at Millville in person and watching the broadcast, I think they're downplaying on they're trying to hype up on how hard he is trying, because I think he has so much speed to spare. Where he's just out there just having fun.
Yeah, watching him in real time, watching him, it looks like he's totally lax, and all of his braking bumps and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the way he handled his control is just unreal compared to. I mean, I watch Joe Shimoda a lot.
Yeah,
I pay attention to him. You watch Joe Shimoda and he gets shaky in the corner, but you watch Jet and it's
effortless,
flows. Yeah,
he makes it look pretty easy, doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like he's just gonna get older, and it's gonna get even easier for him.
Yeah, for sure.
In the next 4 or 5 years,
he's the Tom Brady.
One thing that I think of too, when his bike setup is good, that's when he really shines. And if they don't, I don't think they made many changes to the bike for 2024. And you keep his setups pretty relative to one another, and you just keep adding that time he has on the bike. He's just going to keep progressively getting better. So I think that he's going to be set up pretty well for the next couple of years.
They played it up so much this year of Sexton's only 2 seconds behind him, only 3 seconds behind him. He's right there. It's Jet's just cruising. He's just kind of watching him, just playing with him almost. Because I feel like every single moto Jet could have been out there 30 seconds plus.
Yeah, because
he's looking around.
Yeah.
How old is he? 19?
19, yeah.
Not to bring up my marathon, but I would not be able to run a marathon at 19.
Why?
Just because I was too young. I would have I don't know. I probably could have, but it would have been way mentally harder to do so.
He's been riding dirt bike ever since he was 4 years old.
But he's just going to get mentally tougher.
Oh, for sure.
That's
sure.
why the fucking 50-year-olds are just fucking ripping the marathon.
Exactly.
Tomac out there, I'm sure he's as mentally tough as anybody.
Oh my God. You couldn't imagine how mentally tough those guys are.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Jet Lawrence is just going to get better and better and faster and faster.
Yeah. What do you did one of your takes was on the Pulp MX show was Chase's switch to KTM, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I called in because they were Weege and Steve were talking about Chase Sexton and how great he's going to be on this KTM, and it's been locked in since 2022. Yada yada yada. Well, I called in and it wasn't taken very well, but I was questioning them about Chase Sexton and is he going to have the mental lapses on the KTM, because I had said that he's not very mentally tough, because the amount of times that he's wrecked out in front, I think he gets in his own head and thinks too much and he makes stupid mistakes, and they were like, no, he's not. mentally unstable, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, well, okay, well, what are you going to say if the same shit happens on KTM? And then they were just basically trying to get me off the phone as fast as possible. They're like, we're not going to talk about that.
No,
I'm like, okay, well,
100% right there.
Do you think
if he does?
It's
No, if his mental toughness is not.
No, but if he starts wrecking on his KTM like he does like he did on the Honda, you bet your sweet ass I'm calling back to Paul and be like, remember show 560 whatever?
I was right, motherfucker.
I'm calling that. Yeah.
I do think the bike had a little bit to do with it, because I do know that the Hondas kind of have a twitchy characteristic to them.
Yeah.
So I would say that would be a little bit of the argument, but
You think WP is better than Showa or whatever?
well, I have very hard takes on KTM's.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy Vince Van Slyke, Blue Crew.
Shout out to Blue Crew.
Bike of the year.
Yeah, bike of the year every year.
Yeah.
Hard takes on KTM. I don't know how he's going to do on KTM. I mean, like, look at Christian Craig going from Yamaha to Husky.
Why'd you sell your 2-stroke?
To get a different Blue Crew.
He was wanting the fuel economy.
Yeah.
Well, I know I wanted to put 20% less effort in and be able to ride 20% longer.
Yeah, but you don't sound as cool.
No, for sure.
Yeah, definitely not a cool factor down.
Yeah, for sure. I knew that when I was doing it.
I don't know. I'm young enough to be thinking 4-strokes sound cooler than 2-strokes.
God damn it.
I don't know.
Did you not just hear the video?
I don't know why. That sounds cool. But sitting on a 4-stroke and that low, just torquey, just grit.
It tickles your nuts a little
Yeah. I think that's why. I don't know. But the low growl of a 4-stroke, I like it more.
What about Austin on how Hayden Deegan rides his 250F? What do you think about that? I mean, it's pretty Justin Barsha.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
On the wild side for sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's much left of that motor after an outdoor weekend.
Holy
like
shit,
they definitely
Just every jump is just
yeah. The service limit on that bike is probably 90 minutes.
But it is odd on how he had an engine failure this year, and Hunter Lawrence had an engine failure at Southwick.
Yep, I got
on a
to
Honda,
watch it
and
live.
he rides right in the meat of the power. Like there's no rev limiter for him. So
Yeah, I want to say that both of those probably had some sort of human error in them.
oh, you think like just a loose bolt or something?
Yeah, or they were on the late side of the service window. Because they have a strict schedule on how much they're rebuilding them. And when I say 90 minutes, that's probably not realistic. Those probably engines, I think I heard Steve Mathis say that they're 4 or 5 hour engines.
Yep.
And you go into a race weekend with 3 hours on an engine, maybe not saying that that's true, but maybe that was the cause. Is either that or it had some sort of human element involved.
But at Southwick, when watching Hunter come into the turn, I seen his bike smoking a little bit. It looked like coolant smoke.
Oh, really?
So it almost looked like, maybe a clip didn't get tightened or,
Sure.
snapped into place, right? Because that was in the first moto, or was it the second? I forget what it was. But, it looked like coolant smoke.
Mm.
And we'll never find that out. That all those issues it's so tight-lipped.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wish they would talk about it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like everybody probably wishes they would talk more.
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
of course.
Let me know what happened to the bike. I want to know if I want to buy it or not.
Yeah.
Get on a podcast and tell your story.
Yeah, that was fucking cool and smoking. Somebody did try to clamp.
Just put all the frame on the mechanic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny stuff.
So
Let's get talking about sled some more.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, Kyle wanted to talk moto.
He's got it written down
I
here.
got
Kyle,
I'm sorry.
come on.
I'm sorry, man. I'm a big fan.
We just got to get all the ALR opinions.
Oh man, yeah, I could talk moto for just as long as I talk sled.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, me too. Like, I'm just as big a fan of motocross and supercross as I am anything else.
Yeah.
So you're
So Brody and Kyle is Pulp MX guys like you?
No,
Not as hardcore. No.
I've never listened to an episode. So
I've listened to I'd say probably every episode since show 400.
Oh yeah, that's probably right when I started listening to.
Right.
I think
Right when he started doing the camera stuff, and he had RV, AC, Nick Way, and Jake Weimer in there. That episode hooked me. It was like, this is hilarious. And then look at us. Now we're doing podcasts. Maybe we'll inspire some kind of kid to start their own podcast.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
was that
We'll inspire someone to run a marathon. Yeah,
if,
sure.
If Austin Leeck shares this fucking video, I'm gonna watch it so hardcore just because I'm so in Austin Leeck's page.
No, I'll share it. I'll share it for sure. Was that 400 episode the one where RV just got absolutely shit faced?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that was a golden episode for sure.
Well, speaking of shit-faced, Brody is drinking a 4 Loco right now.
$2 at the big liquor store.
Oh my gosh!
I'm kind of getting drunk.
I got a Michelob Ultra going.
Hell yeah, it's a good beer. I like that beer.
Yeah, but speaking of YouTube, there then Austin, you were kind of one of the inspirations of me to start my YouTube stuff. At least for snowmobiling, being all your snowmobiling stuff you'd been doing, you and Blaine Stevenson, for sure.
Well, that's cool to hear.
Yeah, because
I'm inspirational to a fellow YouTuber.
Yep, yeah. It was like 2020, and I didn't even know who you were, and I was watching your shitty vlogs of how he would title them shitty vlogs.
Yeah.
That's cool to know where you got your inspiration from, and now we're talking to him.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And
That's cool as hell.
I love the videos like the old Rev mod that you had, and you just ripped it around the lake.
Well, yeah, that sled was a lot of fun. I didn't get to ride it very much. I spent more time like building it and working on it, and then we have shitty winters, and then like I'm racing on the weekends, and the only time I can ride it is when the season's over with, and we have, and we're lucky enough to have some snow. But that thing was hands down the fastest sled I've ever ridden. Like, I don't know how much horsepower it had, probably like 160 horse, and paddle track on like some hard pack snow. You bet your ass you better be hanging on.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But no, it was because sorry there, but I always watched all the I interrupt. God damn it! I have a terrible.
It's also hard when you're on a phone call.
Yeah, I have a terrible habit.
It's tough.
There's a little bit of delay. But yeah. Oh well.
But no, I watch all the motocross vlogs, and it's like, oh man, I love watching these. Maybe I could do something like this. And then watching Austin's and Blaine Stevenson's, like, man, they're pulling them off in the winter. I could. Let me try this.
Yeah. Now you're just, hey guys.
Which
should I? Oh, sorry.
It's somehow original intro. Hey guys, how the fuck is that an original intro? Hey guys, like how?
Yeah. Austin, you got to start a video like that one time. Hey guys, people be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
The shit show thing. If you guys really knew, I was talking to Gunner about it, but if you guys knew how low budget my YouTube experience is, you would laugh. Like, I was telling Gunner the other day that, I film everything from an iPhone, and I edit it all in the GoPro Splice app. And Gunner was like, you edit your videos on your phone? Like,
Gunner's into it, like, big time.
Yeah.
Well, I did do it on a computer for a while, but then with the iPhone cameras being so good, and I mean, I did do it with GoPros and stuff, but it's super easy for me to go film an afternoon in the shop, and then I don't have to upload videos to a computer or wait for them to upload from the GoPro to the computer or download the videos from my GoPro to my phone. It's just all right there, and I can just do it quick on my phone. Yeah, they're not as, like, the edits aren't like super cool with a bunch of B-roll and music that's perfectly timed. Like, I don't need all that. It's just getting the videos, clipping them to the correct length, and it's all, it's easier for me, I guess. But to have a computer to do it, my video quality would probably be better, but it's just, I do it for fun and it's a hobby, and it started out as, just like a hobby, and that's how it became a shit show, because I'm just doing it from a phone, and half my shit, like the first year I really got into it, our motors were blowing up every time we were going out in the lake. And it's like, what are we doing? This is a shit show. And then I just was like, my dad's like, that should be your intro. And I'm like, $1 million idea.
Are you going to have t-shirts available this year again?
Yeah, I'm going to do shirts again. But when I do those shirts with Shirtworks, they want a photo, that's pretty decent. And last year, I must have just missed the boat with Speed Shot on getting some good pictures. So I was waiting to get my sled wrapped, and my plan was to get my sled with what it looks like for this year, and probably just set it up in the shop and get my gear on with a helmet, and then just like lean off the sled and get a picture like that. So that way my apparel for this year is what the sled looks like this year.
Oh man, I've never thought of that before.
Well, what made me think of it is there's a Tim Bender ad, and he's like way hanging off the sled, and the sled looks wicked loose, and he's hanging way too far off. And I was like, that picture was taken in a garage, 100%. And so that gave me the idea.
So I'll be taking pictures of you.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the one taking pictures.
I'll be taking pictures of you hanging off the sled.
Picture for sure.
Oh my God.
We're thinking about making some Shop Talks t-shirts. We'll send you one out if we do a get made up.
I'll buy one.
Yeah,
I'll buy one.
Yeah, I was playing with ideas today.
It's
just a little bit.
It sucked.
Well, what can you do with a shop? If you make it pink or purple, it's not a shop anymore, Kyle.
You know what? Add some pizzazz, some pink, purple, green, light blue. I mean,
we got to talk after the podcast about what a emblem or a sticker or a T-shirt should look like. Okay.
Yeah.
No, get them T-shirts printed out to us, and we'll fucking buy a few of them from you.
Okay. Yeah. To answer your question, I am doing them. I'm just waiting to get my sled completely done, and then I'll get them going. And I'll probably, the first year I did it, I sold like 200 shirts, and like 90% of them I had to ship out, and it was like a huge pain in the ass. So then last year I only did 50, which is the minimum order with Shirtworks, and it was way easier. So I'll probably only do 50 again, and or if I have like 60 people who want them within the first week of me putting them up for sale, I'll probably just do that, because it's really time consuming to buy boxes, print shipping labels, collect the money. It's a pretty big project to sell shirts. I'm not complaining about it. It's a lot, especially when you start getting closer to race season. But that's hopefully within the month, before hunt season starts, I'll get hoodies done up.
Radical.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine what it would be like trying to ship T-shirts to people. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah, one shipping label to Bagley, Minnesota.
So do you want to get into some questions here, Austin, or some Team 21 stories?
Ooh, let's do Team 21 stories for $100.
So the first one I wanted to ask you about, I think it was Ryan Spencer or either Trevor that was telling me about. It was you, Ryan, and Troy at a race, and all three of you crashed in the same exact spot. Is that correct?
That is a true statement.
What happened there?
So it was part of the No Bull series. We were doing, it was a 500 lap race, and I don't know. Troy always started the races, and Ryan and I switched between getting on second and third. So I can't remember. I think I got on second that race, I believe. And just going on, I think we were running like top three, or we were up front. And the I think it was warmer out, and the track got so grooved, just like a ski groove, and it wasn't very wide, but it was super deep. And coming around the corner, like the next thing you know, the sled was upside down. Like the sled high sided a little bit, and like once it started the high side, you couldn't counter steer, and you were just locked into that groove, and if it caught, there was nothing you could do. So next thing you know, I'm sliding across the ice, and thank God my wreck, the sled never went on its top. It went on its side and came back down and up on the snowbank. And it was warmer that day, so I was like 100% soaked. I get back on the sled, never lost the lap. I'm like, come on the radio. I'm like, I got to come in. Like, there's no way I can race soaking wet. So I get on. Greg's like kind of pissed at me that Greg's like, what are you doing? You know? I'm like, I don't know. Thing just went upside down. So
She fucking turned.
Ryan gets on it, and sure as shit, he wrecked same exact spot. So I'm like, at that time, I'm thinking, oh man, I don't feel as bad for wrecking because he just wrecked in the same spot. So Ryan's soaking wet, and all right, there's like, I think we're like at the last segment, or like maybe 80 to go. Troy gets on it, and same exact spot, except he really did it in good. I think the sled rolled 7 times and just completely totaled it.
Troy doesn't crash,
Yeah.
like, so.
No, and after that happened, I don't want to say I felt better, but I was like, kind of relieved. Like, it wasn't just me, but like the whole, when I say the whole sled was totaled, it was junk. The tunnel was twisted, the steering post had snapped. Yeah, it was a bad deal, but looking back on it now, we're like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. We all, like, what are the odds of all 3 of us crashing in the same spot? And every single one of our wrecks were identical. Like, the ski got hooked, you couldn't counter steer, and you were going with the sled.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'd have to go back through my footage. I think that I definitely know I have footage of all 3 wrecks from the Noble, because the Noble was streamed. So I have all 3, but I know I was wearing a GoPro that day. I'd have to go back through and see if I had the GoPro footage of me wrecking. But that was a good time. Like, I remember standing on top of the trailer after the sled was done, and it was just like a mud race, and we were watching all the sleds go around. It looked like if we didn't wreck, we would have had pretty good odds of winning that race.
And then, so another Cataract Team 21 story. It was Eagle River, I want to say like 2019 or maybe 2020.
Yeah.
Troy and Ryan on the 21 sled, they were leading, and then they had some fuel pressure issues, I think it was, or something.
Fuel pump.
Yep. And then who was it on the other Cataract sled?
It was me and Larry Young.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, I forgot.
So Greg was like, yeah, I want to run. I forget how it worked out, but he wanted to run 2 sleds, and I had been done racing in barrel for, I think for at least a year. And Greg's like, you want to run? I'm thinking about running 2 sleds at Eagle River. You want to run? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it, but I got to start the race. Like, I don't want to finish because I just would rather start it. So I ended up starting the race, and I remember going out, and the sled was just like, it was so tight, and it was tight going in and kind of loose coming off, if that makes any sense. And I don't know, I had to been like 30 or 40 laps in, kind of close to the plow brake. And I remember coming out of the corner, and I was like counter steering, and it was like I had the bars cranked all the way, but my throttle hand was hitting the console of the sled. And I remember going down the straightaway, or coming out of the corner, I'm like, man, this thing is like super loose. I shouldn't be crossed up this much. Going into the next corner, it was even worse. And then then one more corner coming out, and I hit a bump, and the handlebars just dropped right down. The one of the bolts that hold the riser to the post we had lost one, and the other one was loose. So I had to that's what happened. Coming out of the corner, the throttle stuck because I was counter steering so far, and the bars were down. And I remember like grabbing the brake going down the straightaway with the throttle stuck, and I came into the pits and under green. I come in the pits and Greg like throws his hands up. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I just grabbed the handlebars and I'm like moving them back and forth up and down. And everybody's like, "Oh shit, grab a wrench." So we ended up losing like 2 or 3 laps on that, or maybe it was 2 or 3 laps, and then we ended up racing because one of the bolts came out. Brian Ball just tightened up that one side with the one bolt, and Larry's like, "Isn't it good?" And Brian's like, "We'll find out." And so Larry takes off, and he at that time Troy and Ryan's sled was done, and I think he had lapped the entire field at least once and was on his way to getting another lap back, where we finished the race like a lap down, but he was the fastest sled out there. Like he got all laps back. And if that wouldn't have happened, I don't like to be the guy to say we would have won a race if this wouldn't have happened, but the odds were definitely in our favor of doing well. If that would never happened. But yeah, that's why they call it racing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shit happens. It's not like I've never had a mechanical problem on one of my sleds. So
yeah, no, and and for how meticulous Greg is, I can't believe that happened, because being in the shop with Greg a few days before the Lincoln race this past year, he is as meticulous as it comes to the sleds and everything about them. It was awesome to watch, like to see how
1,000%.
To see how fine tuned it is, like. And me and Dad are just throwing stuff together. It's like, oh, this bolt's loose. We'll just throw a bigger bolt in there. And
we need 15 more rivets in this.
You think you're fine-tuned until you see someone that's actually fine-tuned.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, this is organization.
Yeah, there's levels to this game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, between him and Trevor, I mean, they prep a sled extremely well.
Yeah.
And him, Trevor, and Weston, I believe it's them 3 in the shop every week, so they do a great job with it.
Yeah. And then the other Team 21 story I wanted you to bring up was you getting pulled by the pace sled at the Sioux.
Yeah, did you give Kyle and Brody a little brief of that, or?
No, hell no.
We're avid Sioux watchers, so I probably remember.
But you guys are gonna like this one.
I'm gonna go pee real quick.
Yeah, go pee. I just went pee. It was awesome.
But give them the rundown, Austin. I'll be right back.
All right. So, it was the 2017 race where they went too long without plowing, and they couldn't plow the snow off the track. And I think that year they only plowed twice, and the track
really?
was, yeah, it was the roughest race I've ever seen in my life. Coming out of turn 4. I'm not shitting you. The bumps coming out of 4 were 3 to 3.5 feet tall, like just God. One after another. And it was at the end of the race. I think we were when I got on the sled with like 60 to 50 laps to go, we were in 5th. And we were on the same, it was 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th were all on the same lead lap. And I think I had worked my way up to 4th. I had just made a pass to get into 4th with 5 laps to go. And coming out of turn 4, if you were to look down the straightaway, the rollers were like angled to the left and to the right, and I had hit one too fast, and the sled, like, you can't let off coming out of turn 4, otherwise you ruin your whole run down the straightaway.
Yeah,
like that's a big thing. And I hit one of those rollers too fast to where the sled wasn't clipping the next one, and the front end was so high in the air that the ass end of the sled had clipped the top of one of those the next angled roller. So think of the sled being vertical, and then someone like like a semi truck hitting the front end while it's in the air.
Shit.
Because the ass end went out to the left, and the sled just rolled. And I was going like 60 miles an hour, roughly. And I remember I was battling with James Hicks, and he just like buzzed my ear with his ski. Because it was like one of those moments. Was like, holy shit, I almost got clipped. So after I wrecked, I'm like hustling to get on the sled because I didn't want to lose a lap. And I get to the sled, and the sled's backwards on the track, and I'm like, I just wrecked on the radio. And Greg's like, can you get it going? Can you get it going? And the handlebars were, the riser had pivoted all the way down, or had pivoted down quite a bit. I couldn't pry the handlebars back up. So Greg's like, can you just get it back to the pits? And so I'm this is all happening in a matter of, 20 seconds. So I get the sled fired up, and I'm turning it around to the left as these sleds are just buzzing by me because we were in the front. And as soon as I got the sled going straight down the track, I go to straighten the handlebars. The throttle sticks on me. So,
holy shit.
Yeah. So the only way to get the throttle to not, like in the split second of me realizing what was going on, I had to turn the handlebars to the left to get the throttle to not stick. Well, in that split second of me turning left, I was only maybe like one or two, maybe three sled widths from the inside bank. And Ryan Spencer was racing for Walkers at the time. He goes up on the inside of me, and as soon as I was turning left, and I T-boned him, and he was probably going like 50 miles an hour, and he tumbled, whatever. And I'm like, holy fuck, like what the hell just happened? Sled rolls again, so I flip the sled back over. And by that time, I'm like, I can't drive this thing in, So the tow sled driver comes, and I'm like trying to coax him to help me pry the handlebars back up, because like everything in my mind, I couldn't get him to move, and he was just more focused on hooking the sled up to tow it back. And like I'm standing on the snowbank with my hands on the handlebars, waiting for him to take off. Well, I was like looking back to the track, watching the sleds go by. Well, the tow sled guy takes off without me really paying attention, and my hand slipped off of the handlebar of the sled, and the only thing I could grab was the rear bumper, and I'm dragging behind the sled by the rear bumper, probably 200 yards down the front straightaway before the
Three Stooges. What the fuck?
Yeah, before the tow sled driver realizes that I'm fucking dragging behind the sled. He's probably like, where the hell is this guy?
What the
hell? He stops. I get back on the sled. We get it back to the pits, and Greg and Troy are prying on the handlebars, like trying to get them back up, because we were still, at that point in time, I think we had just went a lap down, and which would have put us like in, I don't know, 7th place or whatever. And they ended up snapping the handlebar completely off of
Christ.
The riser was so tight that they couldn't pry it, and the handlebar actually broke, probably from stress of me wrecking or whatever.
Oh man!
And by the time we got back to the trailer, my leg hurt so bad I was just laying on pit road, and I'm like just beside myself that I just threw it away. The best finish I would have had at the Sioux. And I get back in the trailer, I look down, and I have a cut in my bibs, and I'm, what the hell? So I get up in the lounge of Greg's semi, and I opened up my bibs, like zip them up to my hip, and my Under Armour leggings were like, they looked wet, and I was like, what the hell? And I looked down, and I have this massive like hole in my, like deep gash in my knee, and like you could see like the fat hanging out of my knee. And the ambulance guy like had just came in as soon as I realized it, just to like, how they follow up at the Sioux to see if you're okay. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, you need to go to the hospital. You're gonna need stitches.
Damn.
I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm not getting in the fucking ambulance. So Greg's like, I'll take you to the hospital. Well, you ever try to get out of the I-500 as soon as the race is over in a vehicle?
Yeah.
Not happening. So we sat in line to take me to the hospital. Anyways, I ended up getting stitches or whatever. But yeah, it's a sad but funny story because that would have been my best finish of the Sioux, and bummer. But it is a good laugh to tell people that I drug behind the tow sled by the rear bumper of the snowmobile.
Yeah, my God, totally. That's like a cartoon. Jesus Christ. It kind of reminds me of Dylan Dorn's story, though, of getting cut.
Yeah. He
the
got
scars
his,
are cool as hell to talk about.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, the weirdest thing is I have no idea how it happened, or like I don't know if like the studs got me. Part of me thinks that the handlebar ends that Wall sells, those aluminum ones,
The flanged end,
yeah. I think because my whole like halfway up my thigh was like purple, and I think it was like that handlebar end, just the blunt. It must have been such a severe impact, and it was just like a blunt strike to my knee. I don't know, but
Dale Earnhardted your fucking knee.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and the only thing that saved me from ruining my kneecap was probably my knee being bent. Oh, this. Let me rewind it back a little bit further. Austin, at that point in time, wasn't legit enough to have knee braces, so I was racing with hockey shin guard knee pads. And yeah, because I would duct tape them on,
Yeah.
You were duct taping your shin guards on?
Hockey pads.
Yeah, under my bibs, and the track was so rough that it had slid down my leg and like to the side, so I didn't have anything protecting my knee.
Holy
it was like
hell.
at that time it was like protecting my calf, and then at that point I was like, okay, yeah, I'm probably gonna get a set of like pretty legit knee braces. So yeah, that was a good lesson learned in life. Not don't wear hockey pads and shin pads for window racing. But that's all I knew. That's what my dad raced with back in the day, so that's what I wore. Why not?
Yeah, why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So what is your best finish at the Sioux there then, Austin?
That one we ended up finishing 11th.
Oh, really?
Greg often jokes with me about how much money I cost him that day. He's like, yeah. Like, yeah, I know. Yeah, so like recapping my Sioux finishes, my first one was in 2014. I raced with Eckert. That was my rookie year. We were super slow. We finished like 16th, but we finished the race. We had some problems. The sled ate a reed that year, and we had to change reeds under yellow or under green because couldn't do it in a plow. And then 2015, I raced for Hoose's. We had a really good sled that year, and the spark plug kept falling off. The spark plug wire kept falling off. Yeah, where it would come off and the sled would go on one cylinder, and we'd come in and they'd zip tie it or whatever. Just bad luck. And that year, the race ended up getting called like 200 and some laps in because it was snowing so bad.
Yeah.
We had such a bad storm.
Yeah, that was the year that Wes and Brian Dick won it then.
Yeah. And then that was the year I wrecked. 2016 was the year I wrecked. We finished 11th. And then 2017, I raced again with Cataract. And I got on the sled with like 80 laps in, and I did about 20 laps in. The sled seized up 100 laps on lap 99, actually. And that was just shitty luck. One of the head bolts stripped out, and it started eating coolant. And then I was done with the Sioux. I didn't race the Sioux 2018 or 2019 or 2020, 21. No. And then 2022, I raced it with Hoose's. And what happened? Man, this is bad. I don't remember.
Oh,
I never got on the sled.
I didn't know you took that many years off of the Sioux. I thought you'd been out there every year.
No, I stopped, and then last year we had that crank bearing failure. I think our motor blew up in 2020, and I never got the ride.
Oh, Eckert's, they were number 88, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember what they look like now.
Yeah. So they had fast stuff. It seemed like after the year, so I raced with them the second year they got into enduro racing. I think they were still learning, and it was my rookie year, and that was just like another instance of the sled was under revving. I couldn't get it to rev out, and the sled handled really well. We just didn't have the speed down the straightaway.
So, what's been your favorite like newer mod sled? Because I know talking to Larry Young Jr. at like Lincoln last year when I ran it with him, he had an opinion on the Arctic Cats that the Arctic Cat was just so smooth and plush is kind of how he described it compared to a Polaris.
Well, I'm opinionated on it. So I rode the IQRs for my first 2 years, and then when I raced for Greg, that Procross chassis, I wasn't a fan of it. Like it was fast, whatever, and it handled really well. I couldn't get comfortable on it. So with those Polarises, you could run them super loose and you wouldn't have anywhere. Like you could be completely crossed up coming out of the corner, wide open, whatever. But when I got on Cataract sled, I felt like that Procross chassis, the point of no return with how loose it was, seemed very little, or how loose you could run the sled seemed very little, or not very loose. Like it seemed like I never spun one out, but it always felt like I was on the verge of looping it out. Mm-hmm. And that's how I felt for those 2 years I raced for Greg. And then in 2019, when I raced at Eagle River, that was like the first time I got back I raced an enduro race. And I didn't feel that on the new sled, because that was like the new snowcross sled with the small wing, or the small headlight. And that went away. And so between that Cataract sled and Hoose's sled, I would say they're pretty identical for me. Nowadays you have to, for the enduro races, they're like 60 lap sprint races essentially. So the sleds are really rigid and stiff. Mm-hmm. for enduro racing. Power wise, man, the Hoos sled and Cataract sled, they both pulled like ridiculous. Like the power that they're getting out of those things, and how they straighten your arms out with how much track spin you're getting out of those is actually just insane. I guess I don't really have a favorite between the two. I think they're both pretty equal, and I guess it all depends on how you set it up. I know when I race for Greg, it's the sled's always just a little bit tighter than what it is on Polaris's, and I think that has a lot to do with how Troy and Ryan like the sled. Mm-hmm. I'll say that they're stronger racers than I am, because it seemed like every time I raced Greg's stuff, I felt like I would get tired quicker, and Troy and Ryan can go out and just haul the mail and they don't seem to get tired on it. So I prefer a looser sled, and they like it tighter because it hooks up better out of the corner, and you can make passes better that way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're both the new Polaris and the Arctic Cat. I would say they're equal for me.
Well, I haven't been able to ride a Polaris, but I'm really surprised on these newer Skidoos. These newer Skidoos that these guys have are ridiculous.
They're
fast.
really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we saw at the last Sioux. They're hauling ass.
Matt Gady.
Yeah, at the Sioux, or at Eagle River. Yeah.
Yeah. And
What's your opinion on the new Skidoo?
Mm-hmm. Well, I haven't ridden one.
Oh.
But it seems like running that F3, like I'm shocked by how fast and how much power they're getting out of all these stock sleds. Like, it's nuts. I was telling Gunner when we tested the F3 down at Lincoln, I was hitting 100 on that, and I'm hitting 100 on my Gen 2. Mm-hmm. And I was telling Gunner, I was like, man, if I could get our Hoos mod motor in the fuel injected mod motor in my Gen 2, the thing would be an absolute rocket because
Of course.
Now, we're on the same page.
Yeah, of course. Holy shit, that'd be something.
so
I'm going to have to talk to Glenn with on now.
well, I thought about doing it. I thought about going that route because the old mod enduro rules with how it reads, it's a pretty gray area. It doesn't say I couldn't do it. I think it calls out in the rules like, and I'd have to look it up, but it's like a gray area where I could run that motor because it doesn't say the motor has to be 10 years or older. The chassis does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But whatever motor you have, like I can't put fuel injection on a triple because it didn't come from the factory that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if I put fuel injection on that motor that is out of one of those sleds, I think I could do it. The only reason why I didn't is because it would probably cost me $7,000 to $8,000 to get the motor pipes and all that in there to show up to the first race and have them say, "Oh yeah, no, you're not doing that. That's pretty risky."
Yeah.
But man, what a project! I could run it in the open 600 sprint class in Meyer, but that's one class where you're running maybe 15 laps all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Your dollars per lap's not in your favor.
Hey, it's worth it. What do they get to ride my XCR? The 3 laps this year at Pine Lake.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so 30 miles.
Yep.
And to go back on the Skidoo comment, and you were someone, I don't know if it was Kyle mentioned Matt Gady, but like if you were at Eagle River and you watched all of the F3 sleds qualified, which I did, all the players and everybody, it was like they didn't have much time on their sleds, and like everybody's setup didn't look good except for Tom Olson, Gady, and Blaine. And when I watched Matt Gady go around on his Skidoo, it looked like he had 1,000 laps on that sled already. Like it paid so much to have your sled dialed and set up right. Like it looked so fun to drive.
But if I remember right, the qualifying for, I think it was Eagle River, Matt Gady was the first qualifier, and he went out and set the pace. Well, there was like 3 or 4 machines after that went out for the qualifier and tipped it over in like the first or second lap.
Mm-hmm.
The next 3 qualifiers.
I tipped mine over. We bought back in for a second run, and mine bugged me off. It never went on top, but it just spit me off.
Yeah, during qualifying there was a handful of crashes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think
Colt Delandria really sticks out to me. Oh yeah, Schwant did too.
Yep.
But Colt Delandria he didn't even make the first lap. He was going into turn 3 from the paddock area, and I don't know what happened. The sled just went like right, and it cartwheeled. It was violent. It's like, man, I'm glad I'm not riding that thing. Luckily, he was okay.
So when me and my wife Mandy and my dad were there at Eagle River this year, we were sitting in between turns 1 and 2 is where we were in that suite. And are the sleds as sketchy as they look riding one?
I think that answers your question. Just the laughter right there.
Yeah, yes and no. Towards the end of the year, like on mine, I was really comfortable on it. It just was figuring out how to ride something that aggressive, and getting them set up. Like I tried to set it up dimensionally as close as I could to my Gen 2, from the rear skid to the stud pattern to camber angles and all that stuff. And I just had to throw that out the window and start from scratch. But to answer your question, yes, they are sketchy, but when you finally get it tuned in, they're a hell of a lot of fun.
What's a camber angle?
That can be for another podcast.
Holy shit.
Gunner has no clue what you're talking about.
I know what he's talking about. We don't do that on our 4-stroke.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. So yeah, to get into the questions here, Austin, the F3 is kind of what I had a question on. It seems like the F3, when it came out as the F3 class, this new stock production-based class, it was going to be more stock than not. But it didn't last very long as being stock. As soon as I seen the first picture of Gunnar Stern's Skidoo that had custom spindles on it and a custom cut down wall skid, it's like you've totally cut out half of the working man's race sleds, you know? So do you think, I think they've gone too far. The F3 class has gone too far with how custom and modified it is. What do you think?
I disagree with that a little bit, because either if you're on an Arctic Cat, you're on a Polaris, or you're on a Skidoo, and I guess a Yamaha would transfer over. Like there's kits out there. Like Cataract made his kit for the Cat, which every F3 Cat had Cataract's front end on it. And then you can run your choice of a Troy Pierce skid. You can run a wall skid, or if you run a Skidoo, you can put a Hool skid under it. So that right there, you have those options. The only reason that it makes it tough is that those kits are expensive. If you tried to run, you couldn't run it as a stock front end, because Polaris has those elevated spindles on the snowcross sled. Same with Skidoo, and you just couldn't get them low enough. They wouldn't handle worth a shit. Like, it would not be a fun class to watch. I think with everything that these F3s have for options to get them set up, make them all really competitive. Sure. You know, like these are stock motors. You can tune your ECU to them. And honestly, I'll be 100% honest with you. We really didn't do much with our F3, or the one that I raced, other than getting it to handle. Other than that, like, I don't think we changed clutching in it. Like we made some very minor adjustments to it, but it was fast. Like, when I raced at Eagle River, I wasn't losing because we were fast down the straightaway. It was just because we struggled handling wise and we didn't have any test time. I know that a lot of people were pissed about the champ sleds, but you could spend a lot of money on a champ sled, and like, yeah, they're cool, they're loud, but parts are hard to find for them now. Like 440 Polaris cylinders probably aren't the easiest thing to get. I don't know. I think that a lot of the negative feedback for the F3 came from just people having to reinvest their money to building a new sled. Like, all the champ people had to spend $20,000 to $30,000 to get an F3 sled to run in the premier class, but they still have their champ sled. They still run their champ sled. You got to look at the people like the Myra people. And I maybe I'm biased because I am a Myra person and I did run an F3. Was I personally ever going to build an F3? No, I couldn't financially do it. I was fortunate enough to have a team offer me a ride. But if you look at all of the F3 sleds that came over from Michigan, of people that I know for a fact would never, ever in their existence of life ever race a champ sled. Like, a lot of good drivers would never race a champ sled, and it gave a lot of people a great opportunity to go compete in the premier class. And I know they had a lot of champ entries the year before, but I don't want to get messages from people saying, "Oh, you're against champ, blah blah." I'm not against it, because they're super badass, and F3s are badass. I just think that it's a great way to broaden the amount of racers that can race in the premier class, because they're new sleds. The parts are available. It's not like, oh, I don't know. The champ sleds can be tricky, and you can spend a hell of a lot of money in building one, especially if you got to build one from scratch. At least the F3 gives you an option to get a brand new sled and build it that way. And I don't know. People say, "Oh, yeah, it's not much to convert one because it's a bolt-on kit," but it does take time. The amount of time that Hoos has had into the F3 and the little bit of time that I had just doing the driver comfort stuff, it was pretty time consuming. But how many used Champ sleds can you go out and buy? Like, I don't think the market could bear the sale of as many used Champ sleds as how many new F3 sleds were built. So there's just a couple different ways to look at it. I was for it because I was fortunate enough to have the ride to do it, and it was a great experience. And I would do it again this year. My shoulder wasn't messed up, but they're a lot of fun, and they're a lot of fun to watch. Like, the sleds are kind of homologated to where they're all pretty much the same speed, and it lets the chassis tuners, those chassis tuners can really stand out in that class. And it doesn't take a whole lot to get one to the weight limit. Like, they're all the same weight, and they're roughly within 10 pounds of one another. So I don't know. That was just my 2 cents on it. I if they wanted to put the Premier class back to Champ, I don't have any skin in the game. It's cool either way.
Well, you kind of dabbled into my question there on the Champ 440 class. I guess I don't have a horse in the race, so I can have my opinion on it. I think that the Champ 440 class is too old. I mean, when I heard that these Champ 440 guys, the top Premier guys, are buying their parts off eBay because they haven't made 440 parts since 06, 07, I think.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, like,
it makes it really tough.
Yeah. I mean, it's too old. It's got to evolve. You got to move on at some point. I mean, Brody, it'd be to throw a Call of Duty reference in there, Brody. It'd be like if the pros were still playing Modern Warfare 2 2009. Yeah, and they've been playing that for the last ever since it came out.
Yeah, if you're doing that, I don't give a fuck about you. Yeah, there's been so many Call of Duties in between.
Can we just bring Rebirth Island back?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know what we're talking about.
It's coming back.
Exactly.
I thought it was
but
fun.
At the same time, you couldn't be playing Modern Warfare 2 to the next Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing with the Champ 440 class. They've prolonged it too long.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that.
What are still making power? Is it the big read 440 players?
What's the most common? What's the most common like Polaris engine that they're using out there? What year is that from?
You're asking me?
Yeah. Well.
I don't know.
Oh.
I wish I knew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't know.
The big K-Street 440s out of the early IQRs, stuff like that.
K3 Provy triple. I think if they move Champ 440 to Champ 600 with triples only, let's do Champ sleds with triples. I can get behind that.
Yeah. Did you do you listen to the Carbide podcast, Austin?
No, I haven't yet, but it sounds like I should.
Yeah, you should. He's had some really awesome guests on there. He just had Jim Dimmerman on. He was the 1984 Eagle River winner.
Oh, I know who Jim Dimmerman is.
Yep. And so Jim was saying that it was cool to hear that guy talk because he was like he's like 68 years old and just sharp.
This is the shit that I grew up on. Like, he's got sweet ass shit.
Yeah, and
you see that build he did?
Yeah. So it's a Firecat triple.
No.
Oh my
The
God.
engine was a prototype Firecat triple.
Yeah, 1100.
Yep.
Yep.
This fucking thing is sweet.
Yeah. And so his opinion was he wants them to go faster. He thinks that the 440s are too small right now. Get the displacement bigger. Like, get it faster, get it like F1, get it like MotoGP. Mm-hmm. And he's like,
oh my God.
Yeah,
I
Jesus
remember
Christ.
F3 back in the day when like Steve Hoole and Tim Benner and them guys were doing it. It was, it was fast.
Yeah. Because he said, he's like, if the production sleds got to start putting 850s in there and build a sled around that, I mean.
Yeah, you could use an 850 XCR,
Yeah.
People would be getting hurt. There's no doubt about it.
That's what I thought. I thought, well, 850, that'd be kind of fast. I mean, the 600s that you guys have in the F3 sleds, I think are plenty fast.
Could you imagine running a mod 850 at the suit? You go 130 miles an hour.
I can't
but
imagine.
if you're talking about like like MotoGP,
The top of the top.
the top of the top.
Yeah, that's
Where-
where it comes down to.
Holy shit! Like he does have a point. I see where he's coming from with the MotoGP shit.
You can't just let anybody run it.
No, those are the top of the top, the best of the best.
Yeah. I
Like,
don't know.
I see where he's coming from, but at the same time, I do have a problem with like that's almost too fast.
Yeah.
That four low
People,
you're right.
people would be dying.
Yeah. You should give that episode a listen though, Austin, because he was really good to listen to.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, because on how he remembers, like,
Shout out.
yeah, Spencer in the Carbide podcast. Yeah, and how he remembers stuff from the late 70s and 80s is unreal.
Goddamn, he does have a point though. I gotta say, he does have a point.
I did kind of understand his point on how he talked about on how fast MotoGP and F1 is, because they're going 200 miles an hour on both sports.
But they're not dealing with snow dust.
No, that is for sure.
And loose conditions.
True.
You know,
Yep.
Besides rain, I mean, the track is going to get loose regardless. You know.
True, like the asphalt never breaks. You know.
Well, do you know how many studs you have to put in one of those things to have it hook up?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It would be insane. That would be insane, but that would be if you wanted to think about it like that.
We'll get the oval racers just churning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
No. Seriously, yeah, totally.
You'd have a strong fucking guy like Troy DeWald, you know. On a
Exactly. No.
850 would be.
It would be the top of the top.
Yeah. I don't know how they would do that, but
That would be so nuts.
It's totally a conversation that people could have.
Yeah.
But another one here I had Austin. It seems like oval racing is kind of expensive. Is it expensive in your opinion? Like sled wise, I'm saying like to build an F3 sled, you're buying a sled for like 10,000. Because you can buy pre-built F3 sleds on Facebook Marketplace. I've seen people sell their builds, and they've been 18 to 23,000.
But then you look at dirt track cars, like you know, that's kind of
Well, Gunners,
Fuck, you're talking about cars then. Like, come on, that's cars and sleds.
But it's still just one event.
We're
you
talking
know?
about
yeah, Blaine. I don't know. Blaine's sled was 32,000, I think.
Yeah.
and
yeah.
holy shit.
I mean,
It was at
Is
Hayes
it-
this year.
Oh, it was.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see it.
is it worth that much? It's worth that much if someone can drive the sled how Blaine drives it. And I've only seen maybe one or two people drive a sled how Blaine can drive a sled, you know, set up that way. If they can't drive the sled how Blaine drives it, then, you know, it's worth probably the medium fair market value instead of the top 32,000. You know, does it probably have all fresh parts on it? Yeah, it's probably going to get it like a new build, but it's I don't know. When you're going to buy an F3 sled for sale, it's all in the eye of the purchaser and whether it's worth it or not.
Really good point.
Yeah, totally.
What's it worth to you?
Exactly. If you can't drive it, then why pay for it?
Yep.
Yeah, if you can't drive it like him, why not just buy the $18,000 one and try to set it up how you like to drive it? You know,
Yeah.
that's just, and I'm not dogging on Blaine's price of his sled or whatever, but that's just the way I look at it as a racer. You know, for me personally, if I had $30,000 in my pocket, I would probably buy Blaine's sled. But if I had $20,000 in my pocket, I probably wouldn't buy Blaine's sled because I know that I personally can't drive it how he does, where he just, you know, his balls are dragging on the ice because he throws it sideways at 90 miles an hour.
No, totally.
I've tried it.
Yeah.
I've tried doing it. I can't. It's a mind fuck.
Watching him in person at Eagle River this year was unreal. It was unreal the trust that he had in that F3 sled.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be damned. Okay. Yeah.
So and then Austin, why can't the factory 600 factory stock 600 class succeed? It tried to.
That's the one I loved.
Yeah, like the stock sleds that we're currently racing like here in Minnesota.
You know, I don't know. Like, it was really big when you and I had the conversation about my 2018 Cat that I had because the pro stock class was big and it had a big payout. I think that I think that it didn't succeed in Michigan. It only took off because there was big dollars on the line. Like Mike Higgins put up, I think, $10,000 or $15,000 for the year-end points championship. But I think from a Michigan standpoint, there's so many in every enduro team that is racing the sleds. They all have mod packages. They don't want to throw their 3 mod motors and their 3 sets of pipes away. By going to a stock class, then all of their sleds are pretty much not going to, they're throwing a lot of money away because it's going to be worth nothing. The average trail rider is not going to be like, oh yeah, I want to go out and buy this mod motor that runs on 116 race fuel. You're pretty much put them on the shelf or make them a boat anchor.
Yeah.
I think that is why. That it's so that all these teams in Michigan are against going to the stock sleds. As far as out there, I don't know. Isn't the pro stock class has the most entries in it for cross country stuff?
No, I would say the semi-pro class is probably the biggest class.
Yeah,
just
still stock.
Same exact sled that the pros are on.
Yeah.
But even at Eagle River, the first year, the factory 600 class, it was a big class. But then this year, I was actually planning on racing it when I went out there, but they didn't even have it. The year prior, they only had 2 entries, and it was Langus and Dustin Schwant.
I would love to join that class. I'd make the trip out there just to race some circles.
But yeah, it's just surprising to me on how people don't want to try to race just like a factory production sled. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough conversation to have in the Myra world. I'll say that just from me sitting on the fall and the spring Myra meetings, and Carl Schwartz, the president of Myra, has brought it up, and you would think people want to lynch him for bringing up stock motors and trying to convert, but yeah, that's my opinion. As a racer, I'm probably never going to build one. So, and I'm always going to be racing for a team if I'm going to be put in that situation.
Yeah.
So, just because I love what I do now, I just can't afford to, start from scratch on another new stock build, especially when there's no money in it. Well, there's not money in what I'm doing with the Skidoo or my old Blue, but it's the cool factor, I guess.
Hey, Pine Lake Classic class, they got a payout.
Yeah. Hey, true.
Pine Lake does. 95 XER is pretty competitive.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's the same argument that they have in snowcross of mods or stock sleds. And that argument has been strong for the past few years.
Oh, I would love snowcross. I think everybody would love for snowcross to go back to mods. Oh my gosh.
Yep. I would think so too.
I feel like that would be better for people watching too.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I have?
Oh yeah.
I have Andrew Carlson's last mod sled. So the year he wrapped it up, I have his very last mod sled. It was the 2015 IQR.
You still have it?
Yep. It's a bikeman mod, so it's got a bikeman head and pipes and stuff like that.
With the custom running boards and all that.
Yep. So it's got the Axis kit on it, but it actually came factory as a bubble nose or whatever.
Yep.
So
okay. Yeah, those are badass.
Yeah. So I still have it. I raced it on the lake. I set it up for ice a little bit, rough ice, but ended up I think a stud went through the cooler because it's dripping coolant.
Yep. Probably.
But no, I'll just get Brian to weld it.
Speaking of that, that's the question I got for you, Gunner. What is one of the most valuable things that you've learned? I know that you're close with the Deer Dogs, and Brian was really successful in his career. And so, Chad did well, so did Brady. But what is probably one of the most valuable pieces of information that you've learned from the Deer Dolls?
I don't know.
Or from Brian.
Well, I haven't asked Brian too much. I actually just called him today asking about track. had a track question for him, but like I haven't talked to Brian too much about like sled setup or anything, but I work for Brady, so I've asked Brady probably 100 questions, and like Brady is really good about like line selection because he's also a really good dirt track racer as well as Brian too. But like just asking Brady just so many questions about like just almost setup, like setup and like just the feeling on how stuff would work. So like
talking to them guys, Brady, like talking to everybody, Brady definitely is the type of guy to get more technical with you, but then Brian is more type of guy to get more rider, technical with you.
Yep.
So like talking to Brian, he always don't follow the guy ahead of you. Don't take the same line as him, And then Brady, you talking to him, he says, well, your springs and stuff like that, tries to get machine technical with you, is what I've noticed.
Yep. Brady definitely knows what you're talking about on like talking about what the sled's doing. And then he'll kind of think like, well, maybe it's doing that because this is doing this and whatnot. So like before I went to Eagle River, I watched a few qualifying laps with Brady to ask him like, hey, what would you do here for like line selection and entry and exit? And he kind of told me on what he would do and how it would kind of flow even in a car. So I don't know, but I've asked Brady, I don't know how many hundreds of questions over the past 2 years of working with him on just anything about snowmobiles. But
that's interesting.
Yeah. But like a funny story, Brady told me that he had heard this just like 2 years ago, that it was like 95 or 96. And Gerald, he went up and asked Paik and Kirk Hibbert, like just something about setup, like for suspension setup, just asking him at the race. And he said they kind of gave him the ring around, just telling him this and that and this and that. And he came back up to Brian and he poked Brian in the chest and he said, you got to learn how to do shocks because these guys are not going to tell you how to do shocks. And so that's where Brian really knows his way around doing shocks. And that's pretty much it. Brady made it sound like that's the reason why from that story. And so
does Brian do your shocks for you?
No, Brian doesn't. He'd done a few for my dad here and there over the years, but no, this year I'm with, I actually got on my good buddy, Vince Van Slyke, who is a Fox technician, really hooked me up with some top notch Fox factory stuff for this coming year. So,
that'll be badass.
Yeah, because last year, like we just kind of had whatever shocks we had around the shop is kind of what we had on my 4-stroke the last few previous years, and then for Vince to get me like some of the top stuff that Fox offers. So we're really excited on how this 4-stroke is going to ride.
Exactly, you're running pro. You better be running pro shocks on the pro.
Yeah.
4-stroke.
Yeah, Vince has hooked it up for sure.
Exactly.
The reason why I asked is because I'm sure you're aware of it, but back in the day, going back to Cataract story, I remember learning some things from Brian the year that he raced for Greg, and when he raced for Greg, they were on Skidoo at the time, and they ended up winning the I-500. And I remember Brian had a big part in setting up the suspension on a Skidoo for the Sioux and all that stuff. And it might have been like common knowledge or whatever, but one thing is the year they raced it, they didn't have a lot of ice, and Brian and Greg had the skid out of the sled, and they were putting new high facts on, and Brian drilled like 500 holes, like three-quarters of the way deep in the high facts, and then he like, what did he do? Oh, he had like a propane torch and like heat treated the high facts because there wasn't going to be that much ice. And he's like, oh, you got to heat treat them because they'll last way longer. And this was before they had like the graphite ones. So he was heat treating them, and then after he heat treated them all, he grabbed a tube of grease and he just greased all those holes he drilled in the slides. He's like, you won't have to worry about ruining your slides in this race.
You're giving up all of our secrets.
Yeah, that's Northern Minnesota secrets there, Austin.
You better shut the fuck up. I'm not even racing. I know those secrets.
Yeah. Well, what year was that?
That was
2011.
That was 2009 is the year that he was up there and won it.
Okay, yeah, 2009. So that was Austin as a 10th grader. Like, oh my God, my mind was blown at that, and I was like, man, that's something to keep in my back pocket, you know. But yeah, I remember that race. It was God, that Skidoo was so fast down the straightaway all day. I think Greg was telling me that the year they won, they were doing 113 all day long. Start of the race, end of the race, didn't matter how much snow was on the track. They were doing 113 at the Sioux all day long.
Really? Yeah.
Which is impressive. I mean, if you put that sled out there now, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, Brian really knows his way around, like, because that's how I think that's one of the reasons he did so good in his racing years in cross country, is because his sled, he really wasn't known for just like shit launching approaches. He was just steady and just on pace the whole time. And I think that's because his sled handled so good too.
Mm-hmm.
No, good.
Yeah, the one question that maybe you can back this up. So when my dad, after they won the Sioux in 2001, Dad was done racing because I was growing up or whatever. And it was like the year the revs came out, the first year, I want to say Greg got revs in like 04, 05. Well, my dad bought a rev from Greg, and he went up and did the USCC race in Unison because it was like a 5-hour drive. And at the time, you know, I was really little, like, well, not little, I was probably like 12 or 13. And I remember hearing a story that Brian did Brian rent a Skidoo and go out and
yes, he definitely did.
Him and Mike Gens.
Was it because he wasn't getting any support from Skidoo, so he just went and rented one and put his shocks on it and he was clutching and out he went?
He told me the story one time. I think he wrecked it and then something along that lines. We'll have him on sometime. He'll tell the story.
Oh man, I feel bad because I've heard the story many times about how him and Mike Gens rented Skidoos and he went and won the race. Jesus Christ.
Could you imagine? Yeah, here's your sled back. I borrowed it.
Yeah. I think I do think the story is that Brian did end up buying the sled. I think that
is that what it was.
Yeah, I think that happened. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I feel bad. I wish I'd know more of the story. But I don't know.
Either way, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I don't know if it was in between Artie Cat and Skidoo and he wanted to just race something. I don't know the full story there, but maybe I'll have to ask Brady this week at work and try to get it on the next episode. Yeah. But Austin, we've had you on the phone now for 2 hours and 15 minutes here.
That's it?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long, does it?
Well, because Brody, you're drunk.
I am drunk.
4 Locos.
So, okay, you're cut off, Brody.
Laugh going on.
Come on, I haven't been that disrespectful, have I?
Austin?
No, I'm having a good time.
No.
Yeah, see? He's having a good time.
Just in person here looking at Brody, I know he's
yeah, who gives a fuck?
What do you mean?
No one's watching this shit. We're 2 hours in. Who gives a fuck? No one's listening to this.
No, 20% of the watchers finish it. So,
okay, well, they get
I'm
the
one
drunk
of them.
Brody.
Yeah. Thanks, Austin. Thanks.
Thanks, Austin.
Yeah,
I'm buying
thank you, man. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just let me know when I can buy my T-shirt.
Yep. We're gonna have my brother get on that here shortly.
Heck yeah. You wouldn't believe on how long these videos take to export, Austin, because now this video is going to be well over 2 hours long. That is going to take like a full day for my old Mac to export this video.
Oh, you're cutting me short, aren't you? That's okay. I understand. I get it.
Yeah, see, these easily could go for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Each and every podcast could go for 3 hours.
I mean, we're definitely gonna have Austin on again. This winter,
100%.
After he wins his fourth championship at Eagle River.
No, when he comes here in Winds Pine Lake, then we're gonna,
Oh yeah, we could have him in the
on
studio.
after that.
We could have him in the
stay at
studio.
Brody's house.
Yeah,
Austin, Northern Minnesota trip in studio Shop Talk podcast.
that would be awesome. That would be fucking awesome.
Isn't it
my
like
God.
14 hours?
Yeah. come watch Pine Lake, especially if I can get Cataract to bring a mod sled to Pine Lake.
We'll get him a classic sled. I got a couple.
If Cataract goes, I can throw. The problem is if I come out to Pine Lake, you got to make sure that I can have big skis on my blue sled, because there's no way that those little skis are going to go through a snowbank. And then we got to talk about the air dam and the radiator.
Just don't blow a corner.
Yeah, we'll put some fucking, what are those, pool noodles on the front.
Well,
I don't think a set of brake pads could last one lap with me at Pine Lake.
well,
I'm really hard on brakes.
You're running
Oh,
the factory caliper?
He's scared to turn right, so he's got to be braking every time.
Are you running the factory caliper on that Polaris?
I actually deleted the liquid cooled caliper, and last year was the first year I didn't have a brake duct on it, and definitely could tell. Like just with that mod hood, there's no vents, there's no air that goes through there.
Mm-hmm.
So like at the Sioux, I had a brand new broken in set of brake pads, and I run like that lightweight wall wave rotor, and that 7-lap race racing Troy in the heat race, I blew through a set of brake pads like bad. So
We'll get you set up.
I'm notoriously known for brakes. So.
DM me directly. We'll get you set up. I got some secrets. I can't tell them live right now, but I do have secrets for factory, wedge brake pads.
Interesting.
So if you know where I can buy a nice set of brake pads, let me know, because Walls are pretty much the only place left that are selling
DM me
decent.
directly.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle knows.
Yeah, actually, Austin, when it does come to brake pads, actually, Kyle does have a secret.
Yeah, he knows.
Send me the link.
Well, you got to DM me directly. I can't give it up
Yeah, I
here
can't
because
say
I
it
got
now.
competitors. So
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, Austin to come to Pine Lake and then do an in studio shop talk.
yeah,
That'd be awesome.
Hell yeah.
That'd be fucking awesome.
That would be pretty dope.
Or we could get these guys to come out to the Sioux. When
we'll be there.
When
Oh,
we
hey.
come to the Sioux.
That's
There we
also
go.
an
There we go.
option.
I got the idea.
What?
Here we go. Live show, Kuwait Casino.
Hey, we've been making jokes about doing live shows, so that is an option.
We'd get laughed at. People would throw beer cans at us.
Well, hey, yeah, we'll catch them, we'll drink them. Who
You know,
cares?
I'm really,
Well,
really
if you-
strong. So
Just think about it. It would be a great opportunity. I wouldn't even have to be on the whole show. You have all those racers there. You could just schedule like
One race,
30-minute block. Yeah, there you
exactly.
go. Prestige worldwide.
we need 1,000 views for one video, and we'll do it.
yeah. If this ALR video gets 1,000 views on YouTube, we'll think about it.
Yeah, fuck. I'll be sitting there with the mic by myself. With people just
There's no
walking up to me.
marathons in the wintertime. so
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not running a marathon.
No, but this was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
No, this
it
was
was-
a good time.
Yeah, Brody drank a Four Loko and got a little weird on him.
Yeah.
I didn't think I got weird.
Yeah, you
Come
got
on.
a little, you got
No,
a
I
little
didn't.
weird out here, more yourself. Yeah.
Oh, so what? I'm talking more? Is that so bad? Come on, you motherfuckers. But no, this was awesome. This was cool.
Thanks for letting him know.
I'm just letting you know.
No, yeah. Thanks for doing this, Austin. Yeah, we'll definitely. Yeah, I feel like I am cutting you short, but I mean, I called you on on Thursday, and we were just going to talk on the phone for 10 minutes, and me and Austin ended up talking for over an hour.
Yeah.
Just
We did.
yeah,
It's true. Good
because
statement.
my wife got home. I can't remember what she went and did. She's like, "How long did you talk to Austin for?" It's like over an hour.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it goes by quick, and it's easy.
Oh, especially it's so easy to talk about snowmobiles because it's what we love. So it's so easy
I
to
thought
just
we were going to be on for like 45 minutes.
really.
Oh, you thought about it.
Really? Oh no, I knew
Looking
after.
at your list, I was like, well, that ain't gonna take very long.
No, I
Did
knew.
we cover the whole list?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty like legitimately everything.
Gunner's the list, man. I just come in here spitballing. Brody's the tech guy.
I'm the tech guy, and I try to make jokes. So
Austin was the one that texted me and said we need more of Regan.
exactly.
Oh,
yeah,
Reggie?
So
Yeah.
we need more.
Oh, that guy's hilarious.
Yeah, we'll get Reggie on.
Yeah, he'll be on more.
Yeah, I was laughing. I was really laughing when he's like, "Yeah, family pictures." I was thinking,
yeah, the pumpkin patch.
Yep.
No, that's Regan. He's been one of our best friends ever since we were little kids.
Oh my God, yeah.
yeah, he's good. He's good time.
Oh,
I can
totally.
tell.
And it was the best episode for him to be on, where it wasn't so much snowmobile.
Yeah.
It was more just kind of personal stuff and my marathon shit. So yeah, he got to just kind of spitball.
Way to bring up yourself.
Yep. No, sorry. Don't.
If you run a marathon, you can bring it up anytime. Just like, yeah, I ran a marathon once.
Yeah.
It's kind of the case, but yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I ran a marathon. It sucked.
Oh,
Alrighty.
cool. Yeah,
Thank you, Austin.
yeah, guys, this was a lot of fun. Gunner, we'll be in touch, and if you ever want me on again, I'm more than willing.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
Hell yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Thanks for having me, and maybe my Skidoo build will progress a little more, and I can do some videos on it. We can deep dive that a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I've been waiting for him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now I had no idea, but now I'm excited to see the progression of the snowmobile.
You know what? It would be cool as a video of this. The guy where you got that sled from, the twin track and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Would be sweet.
Yeah, well, maybe if not very many people are listening this late, for a reference, I think my blue sled puts out, I don't know, probably when we dynoed it was close to like 145 horse.
Okay.
And back in the day, these Skidoos, they were getting close to 170. So
Holy shit.
My God,
My goal
really?
is 130 this year.
yeah, I don't
130 was like crazy.
I don't know how long they live at 170, but I hope I can find out. I hope that if I would be so happy if it's even close to 160, but
That's unreal.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
damn good.
that's why I'm so excited about it, and just the nostalgia factor of my dad racing it and stuff like that. So hopefully the build will progress exponentially very soon, because as soon as my Polaris is done, I plan on deep diving the Skidoo. So
Take
that's
your
the
time.
plan.
We want to see this thing like perfect, like. and
Yeah,
do
I'm gonna try
do
to
a-
keep the
do a
stock graphics too.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say do a sick ass wrap, because I've seen your wraps. Like, you posting all the wraps and stuff like that, and they're always badass. It'd be sweet to get like a, how Dustin Doran has the purple.
Yeah, they did that retro theme a few years ago.
Yeah. Keep it purple or whatever.
But Austin,
If I can,
before you go, I know you got a lot of sponsors, and I know we left when Dustin left the show. I was like, oh shit, I forgot to ask him if there's anybody he'd like to thank.
oh yeah, I got a lot of people I can thank. This year was been great for sponsorships. I had them all locked in before September even hit, so pretty thankful of that. Perry Lashinsky with Lashinsky Excavating, he's my number one sponsor this year. Blue collar clothing, fly racing, CNA Property Management, Beaver Meadow Creek Farms, TJ Ho State Farm. He's a good buddy of mine. He's always been supportive of me from day one. Pro 4 Performance, EPI, Rocks, Cherokee Pools. Fly racing is also way up there at the top of the list. Rich at Fly, he's treated me great. This year's my 10th year with Fly, so I'm pretty happy about that. Kubi Machine and Welding. Craig Kubi does all my fab work and welding on my sled custom work. Mike's powder coat. He does all the powder coat for my sleds. He's the reason why they look so good.
Nice.
And of course, Ricky at Woody's and 139. And then last but not least, but Mickey Meyer at Mickey Sleds and More. Mickey owns an enduro team that's pretty successful with little Zach Ewald on it. And he also owns the biggest snowmobile salvage yard in Michigan. And when it's come to parts that I need in a hurry or something that's last minute, he's always been just right there with, helping me out. He has anything that you need. So he's been great. And if anybody's still listening, make sure to go to my YouTube channel and click the subscribe button.
We already got that covered. I fucking hyped you up so much before this.
Kyle shouted you out.
You didn't even
right
know
away.
who I was. I'm always the first like on all that shit.
Yeah, no one knows who Kyle is. So
that's the joke around here.
Yeah,
Nobody knows who I am.
Kyle plugged all your stuff before you came on, Austin. So you're right in the beginning.
Well, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, you've been killing it on the Facebook Reels recently.
Yeah. Fucking
that could be a whole nother podcast. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's never ending on what we could talk about. I mean, we could have gone so in depth into every, we could have done a full career almost.
Yeah,
too.
the black and blue sled, the white and purple sled, all that shit is
and then you
so fucking cool.
And then I don't ever have a problem talking, so usually people need something to shut up.
Yeah, I could have asked how you injured your shoulder. But you just kept talking, and I just didn't want to interrupt, and then you just blew past that. So it's no big deal.
It was snow dust and then drifted wide, wasn't it, Austin?
Yeah, coming out of turn 2 at Lincoln, the snow dust the snow dust wasn't bad, but it was just enough to where you couldn't see that well, and the sled had a little bit of a push in that final, and normally coming out of the corner, I wanted to get a good run, and normally you can tap the brake without letting off, and it'll kind of set the front end, and you don't lose your drive out of the corner. And I was coming close to the outside bank every corner, and next thing you know, my outside ski clipped the bank, and the sled cartwheeled, and it was probably one of the most violent experiences my body has ever had.
No, fuck.
It was full blown ragdoll slam into the bank at 80 miles an hour, and I stood up, and my first thing was stand up and look to make sure I'm not going to get smoked, and then I was like, holy shit, I need to lay down. My shoulder hurts, and I had never broken anything before. I knew I was in a lot of pain. And it was 2 races before the old Mod Enduro, and I was man, I've never not raced a snowmobile because I'm injured. But that was a really tough call to not race, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't. And I ended up having Joey Birch ride my sled for me. But man, yeah, I never would have thought it was broken until I woke up the next morning, and I couldn't even, if my arm was hanging straight down, I couldn't move my wrist in front of my hip. It was so bad. And I was like, yeah, maybe I need to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. It was just cause I was leaning off the sled, and once that ski clipped the bank, the ass on the sled, whipped around, and it just, whatever speed I was going plus the speed of the sled just whipping me into the bank. And that's what broke my shoulder. The bank did. If I just would have slid down the ice, I would have been fine. But the impact with the bank was wet snow was kind of hard, and it was nuts. It was, and the worst part about the whole thing, nobody fucking got it on camera.
Damn it. Yeah, that is the worst thing. Nope.
Because if they did, I guarantee it would have a shit ton of views. Look at that idiot.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a shit show.
At your hometown race too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. ALR needs another rider. I represent the shit show.
Well, we're not currently taking applications.
In the future, though,
Yeah.
Kyle,
Yeah. Yeah.
the no-name
Yeah.
guy,
It'll be-
Kyle.
No, number one priority right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting him on all blue.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks for the time, and this was pretty badass. I can't wait for the next invite.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
we'll
man.
get you on again. We
Yeah.
got so much more to talk about.
Yeah, this was a great time, even for someone that really doesn't know what's going on in the snowmobile world. I've never watched your videos.
We
or
got it in the
TikToks,
moto world.
but yeah, goddamn, this was cool. This was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. It was fun.
Oh, heck yeah! Thanks again, Austin. We'll I'll let you know when it's gonna be up. Hopefully maybe Sunday morning. I would say.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy that Four Loco, Brody.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone. All right.
While.
Yeah.
All right. You guys take it easy.
No, you
Okay.
too, man.
All right.
Thanks, Austin.
Thanks again, Austin.
Later, guys.
Yep.
See ya.
Brody, you drunk bastard.
I wasn't too bad.
You slugged that Modelo.
I wasn't too bad. Come on. I wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't. You started talking.
Yeah, you definitely got talking. But just
Not too much though.
no.
I didn't ruin the fucking episode.
No, not by any means.
We won't have to
Exactly.
cut any of this out.
No,
No,
not
yeah,
at all.
I didn't bring up Israel. Okay.
No, okay. Man, that was good.
That was
really good.
That was fucking awesome.
He was one of us.
Yeah, that was sure. There's all those Michigan guys that when I go over there with Cataract, they're so cool that they would fit into our group here in Minnesota so easy.
Oh my god.
Like
Yeah.
2.5 hours
Yeah.
he's on the phone.
They would fit in so well to the Pine Lake, just motos and
Yeah.
training and
Like-
just
like Vince
Bullshitting.
and Dorns and all the Michigan guys. If they were lived right around here in the Gonvick area,
My
oh, man,
God.
it'd be fun.
We'd
would be awesome.
We'd have busy weekends.
exactly.
For sure. No, that was good.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome for me.
Good. I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah.
I was worried about it because Austin's kind of a classic guy, like me and Glenn, and I didn't know like exactly what we were gonna touch base on, but he was definitely the most entertaining.
No, at the start, I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna be bored, but it didn't take too long where it's like, oh shit, I'm interested. He's talking.
1-4 Loco will do that to you.
Well, I don't even think that was it. It was interesting. Like I wanted to know what he was going to
cool
say.
how we touched base on more of the mechanical side.
Exactly.
things.
No, like that was cool.
Well,
yeah,
it's like
I like that.
that was your alley there.
That's fucking
There.
right up.
That's
my
where
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm not
all
in
the
depth in-
Polaris Indie Garage guys, fucking listen to this episode.
Shoot Kyle a DM.
Yeah, don't.
No.
I won't tell you if I don't know who you are.
But no, I'm having a lot of fun doing these episodes. This is episode 5, and it just feels it's a blast every time we've done it.
Yeah.
It's a blast every
My
time.
wife is pissed.
Yeah.
No, is she?
Shout out Katie if you're listening.
She won't be listening, but yeah. God damn.
Has she listened at all?
Yeah, she's an avid listener.
Yeah.
Like about 20 minutes in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mandy's been downloading them and listening to them at work, and like Mandy, she doesn't really care much for like our shop talk when we're actually in the garage just doing work.
Yeah.
But she said when she's downloaded the episodes and listened to them, she's actually enjoyed them. That they've been quite funny to listen to.
Good.
Shout out Mandy. You're a big Taylor Swift fan. That's not me. I'm more of a Miley Cyrus guy.
Hey,
But,
yeah. True. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mandy.
Shout out Mandy.
But no, been a blast every time. This next episode 6, we have coming up.
Oh, this is gonna be a special one. Colin.
Yep.
Yeah. The
Grover clan.
the brothers.
Yeah,
episode.
if Colin,
the brothers
fast
episode.
one, the fast one. If he makes it home from New York, he's gonna.
Oh, is that what he's
Yeah,
planning?
he's
planning?
coming home.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I was thinking it was going to be the brothers episode.
The fast one.
Yeah. 2 brothers.
Yeah.
with two brothers
Yep.
talking.
Oh
So,
yeah, we can call it the Two Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much, because that's what I was thinking about at work the other day. It's like, oh, it's gonna be the brothers episode,
And it'll also be Halloween.
special. Yeah,
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
yeah.
Halloween.
I gotta get some like spider webs in here.
Yeah, it's fucking good. Just let these fucking beetles run.
We'll have Mandy come decorate some Halloween stuff.
Exactly.
Something.
Hell
No,
yeah.
yeah, this was an awesome episode.
If you
I had fun.
stayed this whole time, thank you.
Thank you.
Brody had a Four Loco.
Got a little weird.
I didn't think I did though. I didn't think I did. What the fuck you guys talking about? I'll have to watch. I'll have to watch this.
You're leveling out now, but
Yeah.
right after it was like,
No, thanks again for all the new subscribers,
Yeah.
people watching, people listening. The view counts, the viewer counts have kind of stayed, but the Spotify and Apple Podcasts have gone up.
that's because shout out the boys at JAG.
Yeah, people. I mean, when I mostly listen to podcasts. I do occasionally watch podcasts, the ones I don't want to watch. But thanks to people that are watching, thanks to people that are listening, we really appreciate it. It's gone much farther than we've kind of expected.
Yeah, it really has.
For fucking 4 episodes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gone way beyond what I was expecting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's been fun. It's fun to do it. It's fun that people enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
That adds to
Yeah,
it.
it adds to it.
Come race season might be a little, staggered here and there,
No, I would think race season would be every week
Yeah, yeah.
because even when we're not racing, we got to recap the race.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's Big Ten 4.
I'll be at the race. We'll get whoever does good that weekend. Maybe get a Shop Talk appearance.
Yeah, yeah. Hey.
Exactly. No, it's been wild. It's been fun, and it's just been crazy to see how supportive everyone is about it. It blows my expectations.
Like I said, we're kind of in this little window here of snowmobile.
And you fucking called it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're kind of the outliers. We say fuck.
we try not to though.
No, you got to be authentic. You got to be authentic, but at the same time,
I'm just gonna bleep these now.
no, you're not. You're not gonna bleep. You're not gonna bleep shit. Okay? You're not gonna bleep shit
Yeah.
because it's a it's a weird alleyway that we're in. Are we the only podcast about
No,
Minnesotan
there's
snowmobile podcast?
no, there's more snowmobile podcasts, but they don't say fuck.
Well, fuck. Well, I guess we're the only ones then. Let's keep
That's
it
why
going.
I have us under the explicit category.
Exactly.
Spotify
Well,
and
let's
Apple.
keep it going. God damn.
But no.
2 hours, 42 minutes in.
Wow.
It flew by.
Holy shit.
At the start of the phone call, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to get hammered to get through this. But I'm like, shit, I should have sobered up because I
God damn it, Kyle. Got him the 4 local.
It was $2.
No, this was awesome. He was cool as shit. I would definitely like him back on.
Yep.
Yeah, he is cool.
Yep.
For sure.
Episode 5 in the bank.
Yep.
Boom.
Episode 5
Just like
in the
that.
books. Thanks
for
again,
watching.
everybody.
Just
Brody.
like that.
Cut.
Yep. All right. See you again next week.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.